Hey guys, Dream Games here again. This is going to be what if Naruto was trained by Samdak. Samdak is basically the teacher of Haben in Viral Hit, or How to Fight, or whatever you want to say. Yeah, it's basically just who Naruto's going to be trained by. In this one, basically, Samdak would be a really old man. He's a really old man, just about this, like a bit older than Hiruzen. Like, like Hiruzen's like 60. They can be like his 50s and 60s in Naruto. Well, Samdak could be like 70s or 80s in Naruto. So yeah. So each go into when Naruto actually is around 4 years old and he's running away from Ichini and Jonin after painting on the Hokage faces. As he's running away, Samdak had seen Naruto running. And Samdak's name is just going to be Samdak. I don't feel like exposing his identity. If you guys haven't read Viral Hit or How to Fight. So yeah. But well, either way, if you go read it on Webtoon, you may not even know who Samdak is unless you like buy episodes like me or reread it illegally like me. But yeah. But Samdak could see Naruto running, and he ran right past Naruto. The Jonin were pretty far behind. Luckily, Naruto suddenly pulled away from where he was running and realizes that he's now in a house. Samdak happened to just be right outside his house gardening. They just pulled back in. Then Naruto will question who this old man is. Is he a ninja? And I was like, no, he's just an old man helping a child. I was like, oh, well, thank you, but I'm leaving now. And once he saw the ninja pass, I'm like, no, you owe me now. And how about this? The way you owe me, I'll train you. I was like, well, how do I know you're a good teacher? It's like, oh, I'm ex-Jonin. And then I was like, how high up is Jonin? So then Samdak's like, I used to teach Jonin, and I used to be in the Anbu. And I was like, Anbu, I don't know what that is. So I was like, hidden ninja rank designed to guard Kage. I was like, all right, teach me. So, so Samdak basically giving Naruto like basic education and like physical fitness. Naruto didn't like the education part, but still, Samdak said the brain is the strongest muscle in the body, and without training that, you'll never get strong. So Naruto accepted that answer, being a very absorbent 4-year-old. So yeah, I almost said he was 6 years old. Well, we went with Naruto for like roughly around 8 years old. He's been training with Samdak since he was 4, so 4 years later. Naruto already has the basics of boxing down. Like, you need like an overhand punch, a jab across the hook, uppercut, 1-2. Like, you need to basically do those stuff. That's like basically what he uses in boxing. But with that, Naruto's basically able to, well, I guess, go about that. Pulse. So, Naruto at this point basically he uses boxing and a bit of Taekwondo. But he's also basically given basic education by Samdak. Naruto barely attends the academy, and also Samdak legally adopted Naruto via Hiruzen. So, yeah. Hiruzen was aware that Samdak used to be like Tobirama's ex-guard. But on the mission where Tobirama had died, Samdak happened to be hit with a kunai like over and over again to the point where he passed out. So, yeah, Samdak had to retire because of that, because one of them hit him to the point where he had severe nerve damage. But, yeah. But Samdak basically trained Naruto, and Hiruzen's aware of this, or just tell Samdak don't train Naruto too hard, because this isn't the age of Hiruzen anymore, or the age of Third Ninja War. Let Naruto be a normal kid. Samdak agreed with this, but Naruto still wants to train even harder than most kids, so, yeah. But we just go into Naruto in the academy when he's fighting Sasuke in Taijutsu. We go into Sasuke using Taijutsu. Naruto already just realized that I'm watching Dragon Ball Z in the background. We go to see that Samdak is way faster than Sasuke, and Naruto's able to dodge all these attacks. When Sasuke able to land one kick on Naruto, Naruto allowed him, let him hit him in the face. Well, Sasuke then suddenly just launched on Naruto, but hit him in the face to help the fight end. While Sasuke went over there, Yuka's like, alright, Sasuke, you win. Sasuke isn't getting up, and Yuka's questioning this. He looks down, sees Naruto basically just cross-choke Sasuke. Eventually, Naruto let go, and Sasuke was just unconscious. So Naruto had hopped up, and then rubbed a bit of dirt off his cheek. Goes over Sasuke, just angry at Naruto like always, because Sasuke has not beat Naruto once. So, yeah. This did actually upset the girls, even more than usual, because Sasuke was choked out. They wish Sasuke was choking them. But, eventually Naruto would hang out with Shikamaru and Choji once he does the Union with the Iruka in the end. So, because Sasuke's unconscious, but, yeah. He was hanging out with Shikamaru and Choji. Eventually after school, Sasuke actually asked Naruto to fight him. Naruto happened to hang out with Shikamaru, and Shikaku. Choji was just with them because Choza was on a mission, and Choji's mother said he can go with Shikaku and Naruto and Choji. Not Choji, I mean, and Shikamaru. But Choji's hanging out with them, and Sasuke was walking around with Mikoto and Fugaku. Because he saw Naruto, ran up to him, he yelled, "Fight me! There's no rules here." Naruto immediately decides, saying, "You really want to lose again, Sasuke?" And Sasuke then says, "Oh, I'm not losing this time. There's no rules here. There's no out of bounds or anything. I don't need to be as careful." Naruto then sighed, saying, "Alright then, go crazy." That's Sasuke ran at Naruto, and Naruto began dodging him like he's nothing. Naruto's extremely acrobatic, just easy. He's easily winning this. But Naruto eventually would jump right over Sasuke, and then when his fist right in Sasuke, like back in Sasuke's head, and knock him out on impact. Sasuke just hit the ground. And the one punch that Naruto threw had knocked out Sasuke. Just the one punch. So yeah, Sasuke hit the ground, and Fugaku picked him up, and then told Naruto he's a really good fighter. Naruto then told Fugaku that Sasuke would have stood a better chance if he wasn't angry. So yeah. And Fugaku couldn't help but agree. But asked Naruto to come over at some point and train with him. But it's like a few months away from the Uchiha massacre, so yeah. Like months away, like 2-3 months. Within the next 2-3 months, Naruto will drop by the Uchiha compound and train with Sasuke. Even if like Itachi would join in, just to see how strong Naruto is, because he does acknowledge that Naruto's really strong with Taijutsu for not even being a Genin yet. But then experiencing just a little fraction of Naruto's Taijutsu by himself, Naruto is roughly right around, like, I'd say, possibly Chunin level. Then Naruto began using all the skills against Itachi, specifically when Sasuke was knocked out. Like, it's against Itachi and, like, basically just, like, well, yeah, let me find this real quick. I forgot to write a note about something. He's able to jump over Itachi and then launch a dual tympanic attack, which is slapping the ears. Just slap the ears as far as, like, basically clapping, I guess. Or clap the head. Naruto did that, and Itachi got hit right in the ears. But Itachi was using his Sharingan, he wasn't even expecting this. Before Itachi even activates Sharingan, knowing something has going to happen, he's hit right in the ears, and then stumbles forward and falls right in his face. Naruto eventually would fall back, panting, and then pass out just through exhaustion. Now, the thing is, Shisui and Fugaku were watching this from the trees, and Mikoto was watching from inside the house. They jump down, seeing Itachi's ears bleeding, and then seeing Naruto's hands covered in blood. They bring Itachi to a doctor, and then the doctor's like, "Oh, you're lucky that whoever did this to Itachi Uchiha wasn't strong. If they were, Itachi may be deaf. But for now, he'd probably get his hearing back in a few weeks, 2 or 3 roughly." Itachi woke up, and Fugaku told him what happened. He'd be very loud about it, but Itachi was even told about this when Itachi said he can't go on missions for now because he hurt his ears and he couldn't hear anything. So, yeah. So Fugaku did ask what happened and then forced Shisui to tell him because Shisui was threatened if he didn't. So Danzo has his eye on Naruto right now. Also, Samdak would tell Naruto to stay away from Danzo or anyone related to the Anbu but him or Hiruzen. But even when Naruto's 12. But when Naruto's 12, Samdak had died of old age, Uchiha had died out, and Naruto is somewhat friends with Itachi, or was, till he killed the whole clan. Sasuke became a bit more emo and hates Naruto even more. Like, at first he thought of Naruto as a friend of me, but now he just flat out hates Naruto with all of his heart. So yeah. But we can just move on to just Naruto being put on Team 7. One difference is Naruto in like the whole academy intelligence rank, Naruto's roughly like around 5th place. Samdak told Naruto, train his brain. Samdak may have died a year or 2 ago of old age, but still, Naruto trained his brain 24/7. Only difference is Samdak isn't there to encourage him too much. So yeah. But also with Shikamaru and Choji, all Naruto really does is train when he's pretty bored. They should taught Shikamaru and Choji a few things. But the cause Naruto's body has a few scars on it from Samdak, but also Choji and Shikamaru. So yeah. So Naruto's on Team 7 basically. Put on Team 7 actually. He's gonna put on Team 7 in place of Sakura. Sakura would mainly be put, I'd say. He's not lowering in the class, but what team? Actually, due to Naruto's rank, he'd be the one taking the place of Kiba on Team Kurenai. But Kakashi has an interest in Naruto, so Kakashi wouldn't really swap anything around. Just keeps Naruto with them. But also, they don't have a sensory ninja, so Shino would substitute Sakura for Team 7. Yeah, Shino substitutes Sakura. Kiba thinks he's lucky getting a team full of all guys. Not all guys, I mean, but two girls and one guy. And then he thinks Team 7's really unlucky for getting all guys. Plus, Sasuke then says Kiba's the unlucky one. He has a useless shinobi on his team. Kiba actually next look at Sakura and asks her shinobi skills. He says, I'm smart. And Kiba then decides, saying, trade me, give me Shino, give me Shino. But Kurona says, no, come on, Kiba, let's go. And they leave. So Kiba actually feels more unlucky as Naruto has Shino. Well, not Sasuke will have Shino, but he thinks Sasuke's lucky because he has Naruto and Shino. Shino's very intelligent, Naruto's also intelligent. But also just generally a complete monster in everything he does. When in Jutsu, he didn't do chakra training. He didn't do that. He just trained his physical body to the point where it's at its peak 24/7. Even if Naruto doesn't train for a full year, his body will automatically just grow to its peak through nature with how much Naruto trains. We trained Shikamaru and Choji at that point too. It took a long time with just training, with more training than he did, but Shikamaru's constantly at his peak strength, and so is Choji. They may not know it, but if they were going to get taijutsu, they'd press whoever it is, no matter who they are. Like if they want to like fight Hiruzen just is amazed. So if they did, and I'm not win, but yeah. Either way, first mission land of waves. That's the only thing that's important. The rest of this goes the same way. Yoshino gives his answers of like, oh, I like bugs. My dream become a good clan head. My dislikes people harming bugs. That's really just it. And light. And then they do the whole bell test. Naruto and Shino work together perfectly. Sasuke was the one tied up because he didn't work together. Naruto already knew how to work with Shino. Him and Shino were decently good friends. Naruto isn't allowed in school. He's out with Shikamaru, Choji, and Shino specifically. Shino doesn't hang out with them all the time, but when he does, it's good. So Naruto and Shino are basically just friends. Sasuke had to work with Naruto. He just didn't because he didn't want to. But yeah. But that's really just it. So Sasuke's the one tied up. Sasuke is then told it was a team exercise thing. Like, yeah, the two bells. If one person got both of them, or one person got one, they could have given it to you, but you didn't work together with them, and you didn't make like a good person, so they didn't give you one. That does deduct them points, but they still work together perfectly. Sasuke's one tied up and lectured. Then eventually go into Land of Waves. Cousin was kind of like skeptical, mainly about like Sasuke and just Sasuke really. Sasuke's just pretty grumpy and emo. And actually, basically, his outfit is strictly just like he has like orange shorts, bandage on his legs, and then like just like a long sleeve white shirt or long sleeve black shirt. So that's what really his outfit is. That's really what Samdak wore, just the same outfit. But Naruto has it more suited for Shinobi. So Naruto's outfit is kind of just like orange shorts, black shirt, black long sleeve shirt. Yeah. But with this, we should move on to Naruto and Team 7 going on like the whole, like I guess the Demon Rose would be the next thing. But Naruto's also been taught to counter many shinobi skills. So before, Naruto's like, whole body is completely peak at his age. So Naruto can even sense he's in a Genjutsu without being a sensory ninja. Sasuke and Kakashi didn't know that. Shino just guessed though, because Naruto is just simply, peak. So he's able to basically feel something that's off in the air, then notice the puddle, then, the scent of, I guess, salt water would be the best way to describe it. Ocean's really far away, and didn't rain for a long time. He knows that as a fact. Because training in rain and anything wet makes it harder, and he can tell the difference between rain and water style jutsu. And that is jutsu. Not immediately yelled this is again jutsu, as he pointed out that's a ninjutsu puddle. Immediately Demon jumped out to attack Kakashi. But Naruto would take the place of Kakashi as he pushed Kakashi out of the way. But Kakashi sees Naruto wrapped in the chains and about to be pulled apart. Naruto actually just grabs the chains and just squeezes full force. And then Demon can't really pull away from Naruto. So no actually saw that the Demon are held in place, that they can't pull the chains hard enough to cut Naruto in half or in pieces. She would jump and basically put one in chokehold, and Kakashi would kick one in the chest, knocking him out. Sasuke was mainly focused on making sure that Naruto didn't get pulled apart by pulling the chains too. So, yeah. Also, when it came to Mizuki, Naruto beat up Mizuki. I forgot to mention this whole thing. With Mizuki, he one-shot him. Like at age 8, Itachi compared a little fraction of Naruto's taijutsu to a chunin. A little fraction of it. But then it just evolved and got mastered. Like, a short list of Naruto's martial arts is basically jujutsu, taekwondo, boxing, and Muay Thai. This is a short list of it. So, yeah. But yeah, off that topic, we should go on to see like the rulers be taken down. Then one interrogated, Naruto's let go out of the chains, but there was no poison on it. Even if there was, Naruto's skin is simply too leathery with just with his rough training. Plus, he knows how to basically channel a bit of chakra, not a lot, but a bit, just from the Shadow Clone Jutsu he got from the scroll. So pause. So Naruto, because he did still be musicking up the scroll's healing and waited and actually read it while he was waiting. He learned Shadow Clone Jutsu and multi Shadow Clone Jutsu, and well, just through training that for like the few past few months to do it normally and not exhaust himself overly. He's able to control chakra a brief amount, not enough to like walk on trees or water, but enough to at least like keep himself a bit more durable and actually enhance his strength and speed, which he doesn't really do that for. He doesn't need to do that at all. But yeah. So that's really just it. Some Naruto can briefly control chakra. So we can go on to when they meet Zabuza. When we come to Zabuza, well, after seeing brothers in there and being interrogated, Naruto subs himself out for a clone. No one noticed this but Shino, because Naruto's chakra was a tad bit weaker than usual. Yes, there's a lot of chakra, but it was weaker. He knows the difference between his own friend and the clone. So he'd been talking to the clone like a lot more than usual. But usually he should be whispering a bit and then telling the clone like a plan that they should do if they're attacked again. The clone then says that Naruto's already far up ahead and probably already in the land of waves by now. And Shino says he doesn't doubt that. Pause time. Eventually, when the blade is thrown, it's like heading right towards Sasuna. Kakashi made them all duck, but the clone had jumped up, grabbing the blade, and then spinning it back around, throwing it back at Zabuza. Zabuza appeared in front of the boy, catching his sword and slashing Naruto's head clean off. Now, Sasuke, Tazuna, and Kakashi immediately yelled for Naruto, but Shino didn't even seem phased. Kakashi asked Shino, why is he so quiet? But Shino then said, Zabuza should dodge. Kakashi said Zabuza Momochi, but Shino's like, oh, well, Zabuza should dodge. Zabuza confusedly suddenly kicked right in the face by someone who moved faster than Haku. Zabuza sent flying away until he's immediately just caught by someone else and not flying, but basically slammed right into a tree. Then Haku jump out trying to just attack these many people that are around him, seemingly. He's caught by two of them, and then basically one of his legs is snapped, just broken. Haku fell to the ground, realizing he can't even run with this leg anymore. No matter how much he tries to push himself, his leg will not move to run. But he realized who did it, and then sees the person in a cloak. The cloak had basically dispersed, revealing Naruto. Haku was confused, so he looked, seeing multiple Narutos around him. Naruto had immediately then said that when he snapped his leg, he made sure basically just break it, but also use chakra to basically just weaken his muscles. Basically just use his strength and muscle enhanced by chakra to basically just weaken Haku's leg. So Haku cannot be able to move fast or even move that leg at all for an hour or two at the most. He made sure to go easy on him. But Haku still tried to just move fast, and he was decently fast. It was just not faster than Naruto, who's already faster than Haku at full speed. So Naruto basically began beating down Haku like clones were, while the real Naruto began beating down Zabuza with taijutsu. And Naruto just learned how to erase its presence just from taijutsu training. So yeah. So as he beat up Zabuza with taijutsu and was able to avoid him 24/7, because Zabuza isn't as fast as him no matter what technique he uses. Zabuza eventually gets hit by the good old Goku rock, paper, scissors, poke in the eye, slap, punch. Eye poke, punch, or eye poke, or rock, punch, slap, paper, or rock equals punch, paper equals slap, and scissors equals poke. Eye poke, I guess. But Naruto basically does scissors, paper, rock. And then that takes down Zabuza eventually. But anyway, he's suddenly sitting on the executioner's blade. Not sitting on it, he was just standing on it. Or crouching on it. And with that, he picks up the blade, then basically just takes Zabuza's, holster something for it and puts it away, and just carries it. But it's actually switching how Naruto's holding it with no effort. And Naruto says with his training with his master, he lifted boulders that are easily 1 ton. This blade's nothing. But Naruto then just punched a tree full force, and the tree sent flying, out of, even the roots are still attached, and the tree sent flying, 2 acres away. And so Naruto then says, that's more of a slap, not a punch, but if he punched it, the tree would be blown apart, and the shockwave would be there still, too. So, yeah. Wait, pause. So, eventually we just have to move on to like, probably, I can say probably like just them in the land of waves. Zabuza and Haku are detained. But just when Gato's men arrive, well, Naruto learn chakra control. So as you learn chakra control, well, how do I phrase it? Well, Naruto's body is just evolving rapidly with chakra control. Like he learns how to make clones that are like this much percent of his power. He learns like the percent clones like Itachi and Kisame use. But then Naruto began using like these percent clones to train with Zabuza and Haku. As Haku's leg was eventually healed, not healed, but he's able to walk on it despite limping a bit still. Well, Haku would train with this clone and still be able to move really fast, not as fast as in Kingdom with the Ice Mirrors, but still really fast. Haku just realized that the 15% of Naruto, like a 15% clone of Naruto, is able to beat him with no effort. But then Zabuza took a 40% clone, because Zabuza's techniques are a little more dangerous. So, yeah. So they're just like debating how strong is this Naruto kid. When Kakashi fought a Naruto clone that was worth 50% of his power, this Naruto clone beat Kakashi until Kakashi began using ninjutsu. When Kakashi began using ninjutsu, he was just a demon. And then the clone had to be boosted to 80%, and Naruto still lost. But then Naruto just recovered all his power and fought at 100% versus Kakashi, and still Kakashi was beating him, but Kakashi took a few hits that were pretty tiring. Now Naruto recovered chakra a lot faster than most people, so yeah. Plus, he actually was taught to train on no chakra or food or water for a while. Like Naruto can go without drinking water for a good old 3-4 days, and then the percent that Zabuza took, like 40%, could be boosted like 60% of power, and Naruto could still beat him without water for that many days. So yeah, without any chakra, he's still able to mop Sasuke and Shino with no effort and still train them. The difference is he's moving slower and he's weaker physically. So yeah. But I guess we can just fast forward on to Naruto and I guess Team 7 versus Gato's men. Well, it was them. Naruto had already built most of the bridge like just by hand. And then when it came down to Gato's whole army, well, Zabuza already heard what they said and killed them all immediately. So yeah. So Zabuza being beaten up, not beaten up, with Zabuza beating most of Gato's men, and Naruto making sure he doesn't get stabbed or anything. Well, Haku mainly covering that, but Naruto made sure that no one does not attack him. Well, those three single-handedly beat all of Gato's army. Then Gato was killed by Zabuza, and Zabuza went to the base, and with a change of heart from Naruto, because he still got no jutsu, he gave the Land of Waves their money back, like most of their money, not most, all of it, and then gave them even more money. Zabuza took like double his pay, then gave the rest of the money he wanted to Team 7. His pay was already enough to live one lifetime. Doubling it is 2 lifetimes. That other lifetime would be for Haku. So, yeah. But then he basically gave Land of Waves double their money, and then gave Team 7 the money that they needed for the mission, because it was an A rank, but then gave them the money they would have gotten for like basically D through S. Like just two D through S missions. And they took all that money and just went back to Hidden Leaf with it. But one thing that Naruto taught Inari, instead of like basically saying that heroes don't exist, Naruto said for sure heroes don't exist, but you can be made a hero. Your father wasn't made a hero, he just was one by nature. Well, I'm trying to make myself one. I wish I was like your father. And Naruto, hearing someone strong as Naruto wishes to be like his father, who just got his arms chopped off and beaten up in the middle of the village, well, Naruto was just confused till Naruto just trained him. And Naruto says Naruto's father may not have had any of his strength, but still, Naruto's father was someone braver than Naruto could wish to be. So, yeah. So, yeah. So, like, I guess we move on to the next arc being, like, the tuning exams. They still train for a few weeks. Then the exam starts. When it came to Konohamaru, Naruto, like, openly trained Konohamaru as he wanted his own student. As he trained Konohamaru basically just started, basically just punching trees with these, like this list of techniques. But he does this, he had met a certain someone in the forest. Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udon did. Now, the person that walked up to them had bushy eyebrows. He's decently tall, and he obviously had a good physique. Now you look at the list that they had, and he noticed the strikes were a little lacking. You look at the list, and the strikes, well, they were actually really good instructions. They were just kids, the way it was sloppy. He asked them who gave him the scroll, of techniques, and then, well, they said, oh, it was our big bro Naruto. And God recognized the name via Kakashi. You guys can tell it was a guy because he was tall and just kind of jacked. You obviously did not see that Naruto filler episode where they found a guy in a nude magazine. Guy wasn't nude, but he was in a Speedo. But, yeah. So with that, Naruto would basically just, God would basically just tell Rock Lee, like, when Rock Lee, wanted to fight Naruto, who was known as, a taijutsu genius in the academy, the guy still, simply just discouraged it. I was like, no, I don't recommend you fighting or going hand-to-hand with him at all. I think of it as probably one of the most bad ideas you could think of. Rock Lee asked why, and then, well, guy made a copy of the scroll that Naruto wrote down and showed it to Rock Lee. Rock Lee then says, what, it's just basic taijutsu. Rock Lee says, my guy says, no, this is basic for you and me. He's having kids learn this. Rock Lee's like, well, I'm a kid too, but, how old are the kids? My guy says, I don't even think they're in the academy just yet, or they're just starting. So Rock Lee heard that Naruto thinks this is easy enough to teach to basic academy kids who probably just started. He's not concerned on how strong Naruto could be. Well, with the Kankuro thing, the Kankuro incident, Konohamaru isn't there. He's in the forest just training with Moegi and Udon. But we can move on probably just to the next it's tuning exam beginning. Rock Lee trained with Mike Guy a little more harshly, Mike Guy specifically. Legend Tendon trained with him regularly too, but Mike Guy began upping Rock Lee's Gates training. So Rock Lee, he dashed at Naruto instead of Sasuke. He clashed with Naruto's fist, but looked to seeing why the punch felt so weak. He looked seeing that Naruto caught his punch with 3 fingers and twisted Rock Lee in the air. Before Rock Lee realized what he was doing, he's kicked right in Neji. Then he caught Rock Lee and was amazed that Rock Lee was this much faster and stronger with his weights on. Neji's barely able to hold Rock Lee with his weights, and he just dropped him, panting, and asked Rock Lee if he upped the weight. Rock Lee had nodded and looked at Naruto. Naruto had his 3 fingers out still. Naruto ended up laughing, asking if Rock Lee called that a punch. Rock Lee suddenly dashed down on Naruto again, only for Naruto to headbutt Rock Lee's fist, and Rock Lee immediately yelled in pain. Neji asked Rock Lee what happened. Rock Lee holds up his 2 broken fingers. Naruto grabbed his fingers and bent them back in place as Rock Lee just screamed in pain. Then Naruto patted his back, telling him to go away. And Rock Lee did just that, and my guy then said, I told you it was a bad idea. So with that, well, at least we went to the exam, and Naruto basically just wrote down his answers that he needed. I'm sure in terms of intelligence, Sasuke was on top of his class, but his technique and skill and everything just put him top of the class. Let me check this one. I'm pretty sure in terms of the academy intelligence, it was Sasuke who placed in the top 5 at least, but Sakura and Ino were the ones above him. Shikamaru was also academically smart, but he didn't try at all. He preferred sleeping. But yeah. With Naruto, in terms of academics, he was number 5 or number 6 in the whole class, each time he was in there. So he's still decently intelligent. But Naruto in this will pass about the same time as Sakura. Because he also helped, Hinata helped him cheat, and he helped Hinata cheat mutually. So, yeah. Most of Chino's bugs will help him cheat. Chino, I'm pretty sure, was stated to be, not stated, but with his, with assumptions we have, but also with his feats, he may possibly be only below Shikamaru. The only person he's below is Shikamaru. So, that was kind of just, a fun thing. So, Chino's bugs plus Hinata helping him cheat. Shino also helped Sasuke cheat, but yeah. But then Shino's bug didn't notice Hinata as well, so Shino helped Hinata cheat. But yeah. But Naruto was already having a decent amount of answers filled out by himself, because all these did require just battle intelligence, which Naruto is the highest in his whole class. Out of most Chunin and Jonin, Naruto's higher battle IQ than them because of Samdak. So, he already knew a lot of these tactics that they could use and turn into the test a bit earlier than most people. But still, he didn't beat Minato or Itachi. It was a high score, sure, but it was not time for him to analyze the weaknesses of basically most people in the room. But by the time he wrote a lot of them down, or noted a lot of them down, then they're leaving, he basically just grabbed a piece of paper that wasn't finished, just snuck it in his hand and wrote down basically most people's weakness. With that, he's actually able to grab like I guess like say he punches a rock and able to find fragments of it, then just poof them into like paper, poof them like copies of the paper he made. Just transformation shoots at it. Now, people that he actually knows will take this paper, he brings it to him. Tenten, she'd take it, he gives it to her. Sakura, she'd probably take it, so he gives it to her. He has the one for his team, and that's mostly it. Tenten, Sakura, and Shikamaru. Those are people that take the papers, Naruto has one for himself. But he hands it off to Shino, telling Shino to take care of it. Also, just tell anyone, do not infuse chakra into it, or it is going to revert back to a rock. So, yeah, don't damage it, revert it back to a rock. So with this, well, the other weaknesses of most people that were in the exam rooms, and yeah. Well, that when it came to Naruto by using the bathroom, he's attacked. He's able to use the bathroom still, while also dodging all their attacks like it's nothing. Like he's a 10 ring team. But eventually he does just beat them all down and take the scroll, which he doesn't need, so he just burned it. Naruto began learning nature research from Kakashi, because he asked Kakashi for that specific help. Kakashi agreed. He doesn't know that Naruto can't just be taijutsu. That's what his team is specializing in so far. Sasuke can use like 2 fire style jutsu, and that's it. So he began helping Sasuke and Naruto with nature release, while Shino focuses on his bugs, but also being learning like just chakra control as well, just how to enhance his output a bit. So Kakashi is an overall good teacher. But yeah, so Naruto was used to hit a hint of fire, because that's what Sasuke specializes in, and then that's what they mainly focused on because of Sasuke. So Naruto's actually able to like set the scroll ablaze and just dump it out or drop it somewhere. With that, Naruto comes back to Shino and Sasuke, and Shino then asks Naruto if the guys were easy or hard. And Naruto says knowing the weakness, it was easy. So, if it didn't, it'd still be easy. Now with that, they keep on moving, with Naruto hopping from like tree to tree, and Shino and Sasuke basically on the ground. Well, Sasuke's in the air, Shino's on the ground. But Naruto like high up in the air, like jumping from one branch all the way basically like almost a whole acre away, but still keeping an eye on his team with how good his eyesight is. But as Naruto jumped high in the air, suddenly he's attacked by a snake. But as know that the snake isn't normal if it's this high up in the air. But Naruto began thinking for a split second, then he then said, summoning. With that, he caught the snake and threw it right in its back in the middle of the forest, and that basically killed it. It lands on the ground, the snake had poofed away. Then Naruto began basically like listening for anything. He's told told Sasuke to shut up, and then told Shino to send out his bugs. Shino sent out his bugs, told his bugs had found something. His bugs were already pretty far in the forest, so he's able to output a lot more and also communicate with random bugs. So with this, basically, Naruto and everyone else are able to basically pinpoint Orochimaru, but Naruto didn't know where Orochimaru was. Shino didn't know like what forest section, but he could tell the direction. Let's head in that direction. They didn't really tell like what exactly tree he's on, but they know his direction at least. So as they headed that direction, they eventually do find him, but he's heading for Sasuke. So when that Orochimaru went to bite Sasuke, bugs returned his face, actually being basically just biting into him, which some actually like poisoning him. With him being Orochimaru, he's poison resistant, but they still sting him a bit, and he does retreat, knowing there's tons of bugs around him. And some bugs can drain chakra. But as his back normally tries to jump away from Shino at least, or far away, but still be near Sasuke. But Naruto already had that in mind, and actually began following Orochimaru sneakily by erasing his presence. So as Orochimaru basically got somewhere near Sasuke, well, Naruto had immediately basically just jumped, and as he's about to spin his neck, he's punched right in the chest. And with the force that he was hit by, his chest is caved in. As he really goes to his body, he looks at his chest is caved in, and he coughs up blood. With that, he's able to regurgitate himself, but still has to fight Naruto. He tries to avoid Naruto's strikes, but it's basically supposed to be impossible without getting scratched or anything. But Naruto does what Orochimaru's trying to do, so he basically punched Orochimaru, but redirected his punch, and punched right at his face, but intentionally missed. And Orochimaru did realize this, as he didn't dodge it at all, thought Naruto just made a bad move. But suddenly the cut appeared in his face, and they cut his eye too, cutting out his eyesight. As he stumbled away, suddenly ends up basically getting like a calf kick as he tried to run, but calf kick prevented him from moving. But then he gets hit by a flying knee and then an elbow strike. Now with that, Naruto eventually is able to dodge one of Orochimaru's punches, then do a an eye roll into like basically just which is like rolling into a leg, gets a leg lock. He does that, he's able to break Orochimaru's leg, and then Naruto ends up just basically beating him unconscious. So yeah. By the time that returns beaten unconscious, like Naruto, because he can't really run away from him, and regurgitating is really an option without being caught still, because he's low on chakra now from the first regurgitation. Naruto ends up grabbing a scroll and running off with it, telling Shino and Sasuke to follow him, and they do just that. But as running away, suddenly something was slammed to Sasuke. He looks at what it is, and it's a snake. Shino would hop up as Kabuto was actually healing him. Kabuto summoned a snake and then ran around while Kabuto was focused on Orochimaru. Shino was able to wake up, and Sasuke's on the ground. Naruto picks up the snake and throws it away. Before you see where Sasuke went, he sees Orochimaru bite Sasuke right in the neck. Naruto jumped right towards Sasuke, only for Kabuto to hit him in the chest, and Naruto basically coughing up blood and passing out. As he fell over, Shino picked him up and ran off, and then picked up Sasuke and ran off too. Later, halfway through, Naruto just helps Shino put him down, and he's able to walk. Where they stop at the same tree as in Canyon, but they have the scroll they need, so they're not really panicking at all. Eventually, Team Dosu arrives to attack, but Naruto basically just in the under the tree recovering. So with this, by the time that Naruto is able to fully heal somewhat, he hops up and he's able to basically use chakra, like channel it into his body, like kind of just meditating. By the time he feels his body is okay, he thinks he's healed. He's not healed, but he's able to somewhat cancel out his own pain. Like how Jinmori does. And by the time Shino's being pressured with like Zaku and Keen alone, by the time he's about to be hit by like one of those sound waves, everybody just jumped in the way and put his hand out in front of it, and able to he's able to push sound away. As he pushes sound away, he eventually is able to basically just jump through it and just grab he's basically able to grab fuck, I forgot. Think. Yeah, he's able to grab Zaku. He grabs Zaku. He eventually would basically put Zaku in like as an arm lock or armbar, whatever. I guess like a flying armbar would suffice, or a standing armbar. Zaku not being able to resist it, eventually would have his arm broken. But then Naruto actually does realize what Zaku's doing with the direction of the sound pipes. But Naruto, knowing this would hurt Zaku more than anything, actually able to basically put his finger in like the sound pipe and actually will pinch Zaku's skin to the point where he pulls it right out of Zaku's arm. Making Zaku howl in pain, his blood pouring out of his hand rapidly, and then he eventually just passes out just through blood pouring everywhere. When he starts to use other arm to throw at Naruto just threw a kunai right into it, and then the sound wave just basically was splitting, but also blowing up into his arm, which blew his arm completely off. So Zaku is missing an arm, plus just bleeding out everywhere. So Zaku just dies. Shino was able to take down Keen that way, but Dosu began actually trying to put trying to put wind or sound into Shino's ear. She was able to use bugs to counteract that, so the sound wouldn't slip past them. But eventually, by the time that Shino would by the time the bugs are done counteracting it, and he beats Keen, Sasuke would emerge and then defeat Dosu would attack Naruto. But still, Sasuke in a curse mark 1 state can't beat Naruto. He's still not a match for speed or anything. Then with just sheer ninjutsu, he's not a match for him. He's just beaten up. So yeah. Pause. So with this, they're basically able to. Sasuke is able to be defeated by Naruto, who's still kind of weakened actually. With that, you drag off Sasuke, who's just chopped on the back of the neck by Naruto, and defeated. So we can just move on to we can just probably go on to them passing. They pass, they get days to rest, and by the time that it's like the teams versus teams. Well, not basically in training Sasuke with like taijutsu mainly. I think Sasuke that if he struggles to use chakra with that curse thing, then Naruto will train him, but Shino joins in as well. But Naruto basically taught Shino a few things basically to erase his pain, and with how Shino's body functions, it'd probably affect his bugs too. Because the bugs in him could push through anything. But Sasuke just learned that as a default thing too. They're basically taught to push through pain and anything, but they still be aware of like the limits. Like they feel aware if something is wrong, but they wouldn't feel pain. They just know. So Sasuke with that is actually able to like basically use this technique and still use chakra. People like see it flare up, but he's able to end fights even before like the full thing's exposed. But then when it came to Naruto versus Kiba, when Kiba used Fang over Fang, Naruto's like, it's like as Akamaru's like playing at Naruto using Fang over Fang, and so is Kiba. Naruto did that just like basically like just pimp slapped Akamaru and then turned his fist right into Kiba's face, knocking him out. So he basically is able to like track them that whole time, like they in their spin cycles and just know it. Pause. So yeah, so after this, we go into Rock Lee versus Gaara, and Rock Lee's a tad bit stronger with his gates, because my guys specifically trade Rock Lee to at least compared to Naruto, because wait, pause. Alright, sorry about that. So we can probably go on to forget over. So my guys basically trained Rock Lee with his gates only, like making sure Rock Lee can like just handle the gates being used for longer not durability, for like a longer time. Because if he just assumes that Naruto's training that he gave Konohamaru and Mogen Udon was just basic for him, it take Rock Lee at least a few months to learn those things. Rock Lee at least most a few months. If those are basic for Naruto, Rock Lee would at least have to use a third gate to even match Naruto's full power, which is not overestimating, but just probably just accurate for Rock Lee. So it'd take at least third gate Rock Lee to beat Naruto. Physical strength and everything. But one thing that Naruto can take advantage of is Rock Lee's, being a little less durable, I'd say. But yeah. So with this, when Rock Lee is actually fighting Gaara, Naruto can actually say for a fact that Rock Lee could beat him right now. But Gaara's defense is making it even harder. And then Gaara using ninjutsu to guard him, like have like a shield around him is a lot harder. Until the time that Gaara's about to like try to crush crush Rock Lee's body, Naruto Lee would appear like right above Gaara and just basically just like a very swift tap to his heart. The question what this is, so like basically Gaara's chest basically have like a dent in it, then Gaara passes out. Tomorrow asks Naruto if he just killed Gaara, but Naruto then says, no, he broke his armor and hit him, and the force made him get knocked out. But he realizes that Gaara's chest had been a dent, it was the same armor that was being destroyed. So Naruto basically hit Gaara in the chest hard enough to knock him out, but no one could tell with how fast it was. But Gaara thinks Naruto ends up picking up Rock Lee and bring him to the nurse's office. Or not nurse's office, I guess. Like the way they brought out like Rock Lee like some random room. It seemed like a nurse's office, honestly. But he brings Rock Lee to the doctor or whatever. I don't care. But with this, he can just go on to the one with the training. Naruto's still dry the same way it's in canon. Just Naruto was actually walking around town with my guy, and Rock Lee's body isn't like destroyed or anything, just like covered in bruises and like, a few not broken actually anything, just probably bruises, strained. Rock Lee just have to rest for like the whole month though. Naruto and my guy are basically training with my guy having Naruto carry these weights, but they're really easy for Naruto. So yeah. But as we see, just Naruto and guy doing this, I mean Jiraiya looks at Naruto seeing a lot of Minato in Naruto, I guess, just with his like appearance and everything, because Naruto isn't really too keen on taking care of his hair or anything, so grew out like Minato's. So he just saw Minato and Naruto and actually asked Naruto if his name is Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto said yes. And, I guess that can go the same way once my guy decided to leave seeing Jiraiya. So Naruto's actually able to catch Jiraiya just with his own sheer speed. He even just kept the weights on his legs and just disappeared. And the weights are heavier than Rock Lee's. So, yeah. But eventually Naruto gets tired of chasing clones and takes the weights off and just disappears from even Jiraiya's sight. But Naruto ran around all of Konoha in the span of like 5 minutes and caught Jiraiya. Now once he got Jiraiya, he's able to train with Jiraiya. Then Jiraiya tried to do training with like summoning jutsu, and Naruto did just that. And Naruto can summon like forth a large amount of chakra with how much he trains, and training, people do see chakra level growth. With how much Naruto trained, he already has some human chakra levels. Although using his inhumanly trained levels of chakra, he's able to summon Gamabunta on like his third or fourth try. So yeah, but then, he then spent the whole month training on how to bring forth Kurama's chakra. With how well disciplined Naruto is, with meditation and everything, that would allow Naruto to actually, once he brings forth this chakra, he's able to control control at least 3 tails worth of this power. So those 3 tails are very beneficial. This is like my pun like Rock Lee using 3 gates to beat Naruto. But now with his Chroma training, and then not Chroma training, but with his Chroma chakra training, Naruto is still able actually to form chakra. Like just that as like the doesn't really focus on ninjutsu, but does use chakra as like a basis for it. He'll use like chakra bomb, something like that. Like he'll have his chakra explode, which is like a bomb. But Naruto has to fight Neji. Also, Naruto saved Hinata from Neji's like last strike. It was like just Naruto alone who just basically just grabbed Neji's arm and threw him into the Might Guy. So, but when Neji saw Naruto jump at him, well, he acknowledged Naruto as a genius. So he immediately just launched his like 64 palms. But Naruto caught each and every one of them, just like not caught, but was able to slap all of them away like they're nothing. But eventually he then tried to use his rotation, only for Naruto to basically punch Neji right in his fingers and break them all, or break 4 of them at least. But then Neji having his hand broken, the defense is a lot more weakened, and Naruto can see clean through it, grabbing Neji by his neck and then choking him out. Actually, he should notice that this is like true superhuman feats without using chakra at all, and no one sensed like even an ounce of it disappear. Then Gaara's been like thinking about fighting Naruto himself. If he fought Naruto himself, he doesn't think he'd win at all. But the only reason Gaara won is because my guy just like acknowledged that Rock Lee was unconscious even before Gaara tried to crush his legs or an arm. So he acknowledged that previously, so Gaara won. But yeah, but Gaara he's like hesitating, thinking they can beat Naruto at this point. Because if Naruto broke through a defense like that, like Gaara had to admit he saw a strong defense, and Naruto broke through it like it's nothing. So yeah, pause. So Naruto would basically just impress Gaara is the way to say it. He impresses Gaara. But he actually is more or less impressed that Naruto broke through that perfect defense like it's nothing. It's simply just breaking Neji's fingers and choking him out. So as he choked out Neji, well, he won. And with that, well, he apologized for breaking Neji's fingers. And Neji's like, no problem, once he woke up like 2 minutes later. And then Neji just say the pain's a problem, and Naruto basically just tapped him in his temple, and the pain was gone. Like Neji could feel his fingers feeling weird, but he didn't feel pain. So yeah. Mayakashi was confused by this technique because he used it on like Shino Sasuke just 24/7. And so Naruto then says it's a technique to basically erase the feeling of pain, but you still feel your limits and everything. So yeah. So we should go into the Konoha Crush. Sasuke versus Gaara. Sasuke actually improved in strength and speed a lot, also being able to actually somewhat control Curse Mark Stage 1 by will. But then he can't control it for like more than 30 seconds before he just loses control or just passes out through pain. So once he did do that, he eventually did kind of not pass out, but he just fell to his knees in the ring. He basically punched through Gaara's perfect defense and hit Gaara clean in the face. The Gaara just flying into the ring. He's just knocked out, but Sasuke passed out as he punched. His body just had enough will to punch through the defense still and hit Gaara in the face. But they saw Sasuke pass out first. So with them seeing Sasuke pass out first, Sasuke declared the loser. But Gaara then began screaming, and then just Shukaku was just let out first. Not even like half like hybrid form Gaara. No, it's Shukaku itself. But Naruto immediately just said that he'll handle it himself. It's because Kakashi, Naruto immediately said he learned to control the 9 tails, for some of it at least. But all you can say for sure it's enough to beat the 1 tails. For that, Naruto immediately went his 2-tailed cloak, and then just jumped right at Shukaku. Now he just saw Naruto jump in the air, and Shukaku's punched right in the chest. And most of Shukaku's body is blown apart by this punch. Like you know how Saitama punched the giant in like one of those episodes? Naruto basically just did that to Shukaku with the same expression and everything. But from the force that blew apart Shukaku, Gaara is like falling on like through half of Shukaku's face. Naruto caught Gaara, was able to squeeze him hard enough to actually wake him up. Once Gaara woke up, Naruto ended up like landing on a tree and then just talked Gaara down. Gaara felt bad for this, and Naruto eventually had let Gaara back in. Gaara seeing how much havoc they're causing, and Gaara did realize that this would make him hated through another village, not just his own. And Naruto basically is able to make Gaara feel bad. That's really just it. He'll feel bad for others more than himself. He does realize that the tailed beast causes more trouble for people than it's like a mutual cause of just disrespect. So yeah, pause. Alright, so Naruto talked Gaara down. Gaara is able to see what he did wrong. But Naruto does make Gaara acknowledge that the hate that humans have for tailed beasts and humans hate tailed beasts. Well, it's the same thing for tailed beasts. Tailed beasts hate humans because of what humans did to them throughout thousands of years, and then humans hate tailed beasts just because they're beasts. So he does make Gaara acknowledge that humans have no reason to hate tailed beasts, and Gaara should, well, make sure humans don't hate them more than they should. That Gaara acknowledge that, and actually, just basically sends out tons of sand to stop people. But Gaara's also forced to watch Orochimaru reveal himself as not the fourth Kazekage, but as Orochimaru. So with that, well, Gaara's able to basically hold off the sand and tell them all to leave, and then points out that it's not Rasa up there, and says Orochimaru likely killed him, so they're working for the man who killed their Kage. And forces them also to ally themselves with the Hidden Leaf and kill the Sound Shinobi. And they'll do just that. Then Naruto patted Gaara on the back, and he told Gaara that Gaara should learn to ally himself to this tailed beast, not hate it. Think of it as a gift from the sage. I see people think of the sage of Six as like a deity, like their god, because we have Lord Joshin, who's like a religion. Then we have like the Hagoromo clan. I guess the Hagoromo's not the best example, but the Kaguya clan, so it shows that she's still known. I think people still know who the Sage of Six Paths is. At least they know who Hagoromo is. But Naruto just told Gaara, just think of it as a gift from the sage. And Gaara agreed to that. That Gaara does lighten up a bit, and Shiraku's actually shocked to hear that Gaara agreed to that. So Shiraku immediately just actually began calming down, and Gaara felt the rage he had subside, which did make Gaara tired. He just leaves something against the wall, and then says he's gonna rest here for a bit. Naruto immediately told Gaara he actually needs help with something, and he needs help from the One Tails too. Gaara asked what it is, and Naruto then said he needs the tailed beast, not Gaara. Gaara nodded as he actually fell asleep, and Shukaku then actually took over Gaara's body, not turning into Shukaku, but just appearing as Gaara makes Gaara's face look weird. Naruto then actually asked for a tailed beast bomb. Shukaku then agreed, saying that Naruto's probably the only nice human he's met in the last few hundred years, so this is a favor he's going to give him. Naruto immediately went to one-tailed cloak, and then Shukaku immediately demanded helping Naruto try to basically just make a tailed beast bomb. Which actually did a lot of Naruto to actually learn the basics of a Rasengan. Naruto being hard to make a tailed beast bomb attack. But Naruto basically was able to help basically make a bigger tailed beast bomb, then told everyone to retreat away from the Hokage. They did just that, as Naruto would aim away from the giant barrier, but still high up in the air. As he hits the corner of it, basically blowing apart the barrier, but he did it on Orochimaru's side, making Orochimaru take the blunt force of the damage. He didn't got hit a little bit, but he's not going to be permanently damaged. He just saw what happened and began running away. But Naruto basically defeated Hashirama and Tobirama with that attack, because they didn't see it happening at all. So yeah. So with that, we just see we just saw he's just amazing that Naruto did that. Naruto basically jumped in front of Hiruzen as he blocked an attack from Hashirama and Tobirama, who was able to regrow themselves with their just reanimation abilities. Naruto then says he'll hold them off. Hiruzen fight Orochimaru. This fight is actually more even than most people would think now, because he didn't waste any energy on them besides the last 2 minutes. So yeah. But still, Naruto's able to fend them off using his three-tailed state, even pushing on to the four tails, as Nine Tails allowed him to actually go to this form without losing control. And it's actually a lot harder to hold them off still, because it hurts a lot in this form, but still he's able to hold them off. Still, Hiruzen told Naruto that he needs help. With that, Naruto just slammed his fist on the ground, basically separating the whole ground they were on, which made them fall in a crack in the ground. But Naruto basically charged behind him towards Hiruzen, jumped right over him, then cut Orochimaru's face to the point where Orochimaru was basically blind in both eyes. Then Hiruzen used Enma, slamming it into Orochimaru's chest and caving it in. Naruto then slapped his hand through Orochimaru's chest before he can get far enough. He looks behind him, seeing a giant sword piercing his heart. Naruto then actually leaves his four-tailed state, and then just flumps over. Orochimaru tries to basically get himself. He's hit right in the throat by Enma. Then, Hiruzen passes out just from exhaustion at this point. So, pause. So, basically with this, Hiruzen did get exhausted from fighting Orochimaru 24/7, but also 2 Kages previously. But still, Hiruzen being just let Orochimaru get away at this point because he's too tired to continue, but focus on Naruto, which no one actually blamed him for. Naruto actually, in everyone's eyes, was a hero. Everyone saw him defeat the One Tails and convince him the Turkey to actually make the ally, make the Hinsan ally with them. Let's see then take the third Hokage basically. Why would he not be a hero from those 3 moments? He forced a realliance with the Hidden Sand, beat the One Tails, and then saved Hiruzen. He's definitely a hero in the eyes of the Hidden Leaf now. So yeah. But yeah, so with this, we should go on to see the Hidden Leaf thing of Naruto as like their savior. Now Hiruzen does actually put Naruto as like the rank of a Jonin after this, because Naruto's like body is able to heal. But Naruto's like giving like willing, she's not Jonin, I'd say Chunin. I think Hiruzen at this point would like still like peace, but also not want children to rush off to higher rank missions to die or find someone as strong as them, or someone stronger than them. Either way, but yeah. We'll have to pause more time, Crescent. Okay, I don't remember where I was. I was gone for like 20 minutes. Chrono Crush ended. Naruto regarded as a hero. I'll leave up. Hold up. Alright, I'm gonna go to Naruto regarded as a hero. I'll go off from there. So Naruto regarded as a hero, but so was Gaara. And he doesn't actually acknowledge Gaara as someone worthy of being a Kage if he's able to turn the tide of battle against an enemy that fast. By the way, Naruto is in the hospital just being healed. Like, they already healed most of the way because he got stabbed like right through the heart. His heart healed immediately, but the rest around it was being healed. So, yeah. He had like his ribs stabbed through. But, basically, Gaara is basically regarded as a hero, even among Hiruzen, which actually made the Sand think better of Gaara as a whole. Plus, Shukaku who helped free Hiruzen, so they think better of even just Shukaku itself. Actually, at least they're actually building a shrine in honor of Shukaku, like not a big one, but a small one. Like it's in the middle, like right in front of the Katakagi Tower, in front of the Hidden Sand. So with this, basically, we would honestly just have like we'd probably just have Gaara being probably like this Katakagi just through Hiruzen respecting him enough to actually think of Gaara as like a really worthy ally. Like not like the Hidden Sand itself, just Gaara was worthy of being called an ally. So I think Gaara is probably the next Katakage. Orochimaru escaped just because, well, he's not letting him get away by focusing on Naruto's health, not his own. Which Enma actually respected Hiruzen for that moment. So yeah. But by the time that Jiraiya wants to leave, Naruto says he'll go with him. You just can't train too much. And Jiraiya said, at least focus on trying to get along with the Nine Tails better if you're able to get Gaara to get along with the One Tails. Naruto agreed to that. So, eventually Naruto's actually able to meditate. Actually, well, convince the Nine Tails to let him summon forth more of his power. But I think that she told Naruto to focus on a technique that he saw, but focus on the gates, basically. Naruto told Naruto about like what the gates were and the section of the gates. Naruto focused on releasing those, because Naruto told Naruto once Naruto's able to beat it, once Naruto's able to beat the Nine Tails will give him full access to his power. At the time, Naruto's focusing on trying to access the gates internally and then release them. So instead of Rasengan training, it's gate training, but self-taught gates. If Madara recognized the gates from the old days, I guarantee you they're at least around in the Hagoromo era, so I guarantee you that. So yeah. So with this speed boost, we probably just have Naruto being able to probably summon forth at least 2 gates at the end of this with how durable Naruto isn't, but also how big of a prodigy Naruto is in this one. Well, he don't get a prodigy as in canon, just Naruto has this brought forth by a teacher. So Naruto's actually able to like bring forth 2 gates by the time he meets Tsunade. He also doesn't want to be Hokage. He doesn't want it. He just wants to be the best Naruto as possible. Like, Samdak is like, oh, you want to be Kage? That's not bad, but make sure you're the best you can be before you can even think of that. You can't be Kage if you don't think well of yourself. So, yeah. So, Naruto basically just had to, like, basically focus on himself more than trying to get respect. So, I guess with this, Naruto isn't focused on being Kage, but more focused on, like, making sure his power is at its peak, so people will respect his power, but also respect him. And honestly, he has respect of literally everyone besides Sasuke and Sakura and Ino. Those 3 people don't respect Naruto at all. Even Kiba can acknowledge that he respects Naruto. Like, Sakura getting a bit of respect to Ino for Naruto, but that's really just, yeah. So Sakura's a bit stronger in this arc because she's learning Genjutsu from Kurenai. She knows place in the team. But yeah. So we can go on to probably just Naruto meeting Tsunade. The mention about Naruto's thing, she just says, is this your student who has another dumb dream being Kage? Naruto says he doesn't want to be Kage, but he refuses to leave the village in the hands of someone who can't even prove to better themselves. Tsunade says, oh, what's that supposed to mean? But Naruto says, Tsunade's a far cry from what the village says she is. She's just a drunk ninja. She's nothing better than that. And Naruto says that if the village was left in her hands, the village would crumble, and it'd be her fault. So Naruto actually says that him and Jiraiya should leave. Tsunade isn't worth bringing to Konoha. She should stay outside of it as much as possible. Tsunade actually being upset with Naruto challenging him to a fight, saying that she'll beat sense into this kid, or beat respect into him. Naruto agreed, as this was to lure her, just to provoke her into fighting with the gates, or for him to fight with the gates. The time they got outside, Tsunade would attack Naruto. He's actually able to dodge a lot of her attacks, or punch her back. It's just amazing how strong Naruto is physically. He's not as strong as her physically, but still, he's at his peak for his age, even going beyond the peak. Eventually, Naruto will actually summon forth three tails, and then actually outmatch Tsunade's strength, before he actually would activate the second gate in using three tails. And actually would go actually to be a bit stronger than five tails. But in exchange for this, he actually is losing control rapidly in the tailed form. But he has enough time to actually beat Tsunade down. Eventually, he will disable the cloak, and then the gates, and then land, as Naruto's actually been healing Naruto. The reason that Naruto's actually willingly healing Naruto is the fact that they've reached an understanding. That's the only thing, they've reached an understanding. It's really just it. Because Naruto's killing Naruto, Naruto doesn't feel any resentment towards basically anyone. He doesn't hate anyone. It's really hard for him to do so. At the best, he hates Orochimaru. At the best, it's reasonable hate. Reasonable hate, completely. The only person he hates is Orochimaru. He doesn't hate anyone else. Even if it was who leaked him as an Nitrogen Cherokee, he wouldn't hate them. He doesn't care. At all. He hates nothing but Orochimaru. Orochimaru for biting Sasuke. And attacking Konoha. And almost killing Hiruzen, and almost killing him. Which would have killed the Nine-Tails, which actually does, actually, that's like a bad feeling for him, it's like killing the Nine-Tails. And that's one of Naruto's feelings, so, yeah. But it's not just amazing that she was beaten by Naruto. So, yeah. But with this, we're going to move on to Naruto's training. So Naruto actually says she wants to fight Naruto again and train. So when Orochimaru did offer her the whole deal, she says no, she has to train. Which this confused Orochimaru why he has to train, because he had his arms sealed away. I don't think I mentioned that, he had his arms sealed away. Once he said, like he doesn't, actually no, they wouldn't be sealed away, because I forgot the way his arms were sealed away, I forgot that. Like, he wouldn't need healing, but he needed healing for the Sound 4, because they got hit by a tailed beast bomb, but also his own shinobi. Some of them were treated, it's just they needed healing. But that's why she was training, she says, oh, she has to beat this kid named Naruto or something. And he actually bragged about beating you before. Orochimaru does acknowledge that Naruto did beat him before, but he wasn't ready for someone this strong. Only first started to chuckle, saying, well, he learned a new technique since then, and it boosted his power by basically quadruple, it seemed like. Orochimaru is just now scoffing at how fast this kid can grow. There's Naruto with his three tails cloak, but mixing two gates with it. Naruto was going beyond most basically most characters of this portion of the series. He beat Tsunade, but she was kind of off guard and drunk, so I give her the benefit of the doubt. But he still could have put up a good fight against her, probably even beat her. So it's actually probably not beat her, but like just compared to her, like equal her in power, like a draw would I'd say just a low ball it. It'd be a draw. So yeah, so like it's like that's a three-tailed cloak, but then multiply that by 2. So with this, we just go on to Naruto training for the whole week. But she told Naruto to focus on evolving the gates and mastering them, to not go beyond them. Naruto agreed to that, but mastering ability would be good. Because Naruto basically just will focus on evolving the gates and combining it with the Nine Tails. He tries really hard. Wasn't until Naruto doing that, well, even the week's over, Naruto's actually able to unlock the third gate, not even realizing he could use it. But Naruto's not about to have the rematch with Orochimaru and Kabuto watching from a distance. And Naruto can actually tell they're there. He feels the same killing intent. So yeah. As about to start, Tsunade's drunk, actually in like her peak condition, just training. Not peak, but still training. With her age, she'd probably be exactly peak. So, yeah. But Orochimaru just tell Kabuto, plus the Sound 4, not all of them, but it's really just Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Jorobo, and Kidomaru. Just those four, and Dosu. I don't think I killed Dosu, but I killed Keen got poisoned by Shino's bug. I don't think I said that. Shino's bug's poisoned her. Dosu just blew up. Not blew up, but he bled out. Dosu's alive. So Gara killed Dosu in canon. So never mind. Just Jorobo, Kidomaru, Orochimaru, and Kabuto. Those four. And he actually tells like Kidomaru when Naruto seems tired out, hit him right through the heart with an arrow, and it'll kill him. I guarantee it. But then he tells Jorobo surround Tsunade with a dome, but then make sure just make sure it's done. He'll distract Jiraiya and the student, or Kabuto will distract Tsunade's student, and then he'll distract Jiraiya. So yeah. Oh, this is a Naruto and Tsunade fight. Naruto in his third form, in like his three tails, and then with the second gate open. Well, he's not losing control, but instead just evolving in the fight. We're seeing Tsunade just come to basically grappling each other, and he's pushing her back with his sheer physical strength. Oshima's pushing him back. But Naruto suddenly headbutt her, full force. As he headbutted her, she isn't flying back a bit, but she's holding on Naruto and threw him with the momentum that was channeled up. Naruto actually landed and then jumped back at her. That goes for a punch, only for Naruto to basically twist the momentum against her by basically putting his foot on her fist and just twisting in the air, using the momentum to kick her right in the face. With her being sent flying back, Naruto basically does hand seals, and then would use ninjutsu for the first time. Not for the first time, but ninjutsu nonetheless. And like before, he was focused on fire style with Kakashi because Kakashi wanted to teach Sasuke that. Then Naruto just trained with them and going with the flow. It took him a long time to actually use fire, but he's using it. Or use it like this at least. Not to use fire in general. But he did fireball jutsu, and Tsunade's actually caught up in it. I expected him to use ninjutsu, thinking of him as like Mike God and not able to use it. Tsunade's being burned by this. He's basically punched her in the stomach, but he's flying through the air. Then Naruto ends up jumping as high as he can, but she knows something different. He wasn't as high as he could be. She knows this. She can estimate how high he would jump. But then she just noticed that Naruto was holding something. She sees a giant rock, and she just slammed right into her. Now with her strength being weakened and her being more tired, she can't really hold up the rock. If it's crusher, he actually would basically just shove his finger through it, and the rock is basically crushed, basically split in half with the force that was hit with. Once it's once it's split, Naruto basically splits it, he pushes it in half, then basically just elbow drops Tsunade. With this, Tsunade realizes he's not in his form anymore, but he's close to her than Whisper saying, Orochimaru's here. So the arrow's fired right at Naruto as he spun around, catching it and throwing it back at Kidomaru. It wasn't Kidomaru, but throwing it back towards the direction as it hit Orochimaru right in the shoulder. He shot right in the first gaze, he caught it and just threw it back. Not in that way. As it hit Orochimaru right in the shoulder, he eventually basically just panting at the pain he is in now. He went out to basically pick up Tsunade and then throw her right towards Orochimaru. But Jiraiya had already been moving that way, so he's keeping up with Tsunade's being thrown, but she's already prepared to be thrown. But Naruto and Tsunade being running, he ran with her, but not ran with her, he didn't himself, but a clone ran with her. But from a distance. When Naruto actually ran towards Jorobo Kidomaru, who sent them nearby. Tsunade and Jiraiya eventually arrived. Tsunade would punch Jorobo in the face, sending him flying back. Actually basically killed him. She basically just killed him. Jiraiya pulled the arrow out of her shoulder, got up only to be hit with a Rasengan right in the chest from a Jiraiya. And Jiraiya's at full health. Tsunade was training. He wasn't trying to drink with her or anything. She was training. Tsunade would eventually catch Kabuto off guard by throwing Senbone right into his arm. But then as he went to just basically hit her with the thing that severs tendons and stuff. He put up a good fight by throwing Senbone into him, but as much as she's about to be hit by it, Naruto's already been hit with this before. He was hit with it in the force of death. Well, actually already found out a counter to it. He just grabbed Kabuto's arm and just snapped it cleanly. And Kabuto basically just being yelling in pain, only for Tsunade to basically jump and hit him over and over in the pressure point with Senbone. Point where each pressure point has around 4 Senbone lodged into it. He just passes out just through lack of being able to move anymore. And the Jiraiya basically begins beating down already weakened Orochimaru from the Rasengan, and also an arrow in the shoulder. While Naruto being fighting Kidomaru, while Jorobo just died of head trauma. Now, Tsunade be joining the fight with Orochimaru versus Jiraiya. As a 3-way deadlock, but 2 of them were against Orochimaru, and 2 of them are at full power, while Orochimaru can barely even move. With this, Naruto begins fighting Kidomaru and winning easily. Well, that thing to take down Kidomaru is actually, just a not basic, but it's a spinning back kick, and he hits Kidomaru right in the face with it, knocking him out. Naruto would actually just realize that the hidden sound does not deserve to live if they're willing to sleep this low. Naruto makes sure that no one looks, as he doesn't want people to see him at his lowest moment and in his lowest thoughts. Naruto's feeling really guilty about this and really hesitant. Naruto tells Naruto, if you don't think you can do this, do not do it. Step away from him. Naruto then he's helping him, then Naruto says that Naruto's the only host he's genuinely liked, so he should step back. Naruto nods as he put the kunai away, only to just slam his fist into Kidomaru's face, and it just basically put him in a coma with how much force he used. Naruto says that's a better option than killing him. But Naruto didn't know who was watching, and it was actually Shizune. So yeah, Naruto's standing up, and ended up taking off his shirt that's pretty torn up. His attacks stayed the same, basically, like just the orange shorts. They're more reddish than orange, but it was scarlet, so he called it orange. But he took off his shirt was basically like black long sleeve one, but he took it off. And Shizune began basically just looking at Naruto's body in amazement, as it was covered in scars. Not like severe ones that were like, oh, this just should have killed you. No. Like, even like the original stab wound that basically healed by the Nine Tails, the other ones just healed naturally because they could. They looked like small kunai slashes or like senbone stabs or like hit with a shuriken. And that's from his clones, from Sasuke, Shino, his clones, or Samdak, one of the four. Occasionally, once or twice Kiba from scratching him. That's about it. He also has like a thing on his hand from actually on his knuckles mainly from punching the Neji's defense. It hurt him, but not badly at all. Like, he didn't really feel it at all, actually. But yeah, either way. Listen, the Neji should be working on like those techniques that Naruto does, because those techniques are like something that the Hyuga should know. But Neji, knowing the Hyuga, he has like the whole Hyuga hatred, but not for Hinata anymore. Because Hinata, she told Neji how she saw Naruto do it with the Byakugan, and then told Neji about it. Neji and Hinata should be like doing it on dummies and then doing it on each other. Because it's not anything threatening. You're just being like hitting pressure points in a certain way. So yeah. So I guess we can probably just move on to Tsunade heading back to Konoha, with her and Naruto being allies. But Naruto this does actually train. Tsunade actually killed Naruto a bit, but also bought him a new shirt. And this new shirt, she didn't tell Naruto she bought him a new shirt. He mainly wore like old raggedy one that shouldn't step a bit. But Tsunade actually been stitching the Uzumaki symbol into the shirt, knowing his last name is Uzumaki. So after halfway to Konoha, she gave him the shirt and he put it on. This one now has the Uzumaki symbol on it, so he appreciated it. But, well, she also said that she'll heal anyone in Naruto's fist. It's like a favor for opening her eyes. In the fight, she didn't realize she was covered in blood at the end of it because of Naruto. She didn't realize that. So she was focused on she beating him. She realized that there's something actually to distract her from blood, and that is her drive to match Naruto. She said that this kid was on the level of Asani and just through his drive to better himself. So she knows she needs to do that too. Which did actually include her dropping alcohol. Or mainly dropping it because she doesn't want to. She drops it to not drink out of just randomly. Drink it as like a celebration, or that's really just a celebration. Which Naruto did tell her that was a good idea because drinking does weaken her a lot. He said the first time the only reason he beat her was because she was drunk. So yeah. It was realized that the first fight she lost because she was drunk. She realized that's how much it weakened her, that she lost to a child who didn't even master his new ability yet. He's still really strong. It was still like that. So in the stage, Tsunade helping Naruto with some technique. It's just that she's seen people maneuver better using this martial art. But Tsunade being helping Naruto, and he been helping her. So yeah. And one thing that he had to teach her is let go of basically everything that you hate. He hates nothing but Orochimaru. But today, after seeing how well that they fared against him and how well he does against them, there's confidence that he's gonna need to hate Orochimaru if he's that much weaker than him. He does say that he unlocked the third gate, and he needs to control that. And with that, he thinks that no one can beat him anymore, or at least besides Hiruzen. So he thinks that all he needs to do is master that ability. Then he doesn't need to hate Orochimaru if he's weaker than him. He never hates anything. He never hates on anything weaker than him. But instead, he's just focused on bettering himself and his goal, which Tsunade needs to do too. Though she will let go of blaming herself and blaming anyone around her for Dawn's death. It's war. It happened. And the people who suffered a lot more than her. So she needs to just admit that. So Naruto being helping her, she been helping him, till they got to Konoha. And, well, Hiruzen is watching them come back to Konoha, and actually considered like Naruto and Tsunade like just family. It's kind of how he saw it with how comfortable they were around each other. But Naruto's words actually did link with Jiraiya, and Jiraiya kind of had went through the Roshi training, but with his own clones. So Jiraiya basically suffered the Roshi training, but he actually had Hiruzen do it with him. Like Hiruzen, that what Naruto said, and Hiruzen agrees to that form of training. But Naruto began subjecting Sasuke and Shino to that training too. Also, actually had an idea, so they all get along, knowing that Sasuke's weakness is still a bit of teamwork. But now he has a new friend in the Hidden Sand. He calls up Gaara and Temari and Kankuro, asks them if they can head to the Hidden Sand. And Tsunade becoming a new Kage, plus actually, how well the Hidden Sand and Hidden Leaf are now cooperating better than before, even with Rasa's rule. Some things are different. So I'm not basically able to not convince, but actually at Gaara, if they can head to the Hidden Sand, Tsunade agrees to let them go to the Hidden Sand, and they arrive there in 3 days, and now it's basically just teamwork between the Hidden Sand teams that are Genin and the Hidden Leaf teams. Well, not the Hidden Leaf teams, just the Konoha 12. But they're the strongest force of the Hidden Leaf Genin. So yeah. But this would lead to Rock Lee meeting Shira on good terms, and him and Shira get along really well. Shira even learns the 8 gates, but Naruto also reveals to Rock Lee that he learned the 8 gates, just through nature. We also began copying Shira's technique, which is the 8 wings or something. Basically making him silent, but also pushing his body to its peak. But Naruto began making his own form of fighting, which is mixing the two. So yeah. So Naruto would basically just focus on taijutsu, but also learning more ninjutsu. But he also turns to Gaara mainly, just actually first makes Gaara get rid of anything he hates and anything that he doesn't like. Because Gaara has to actually let it exist and not in his mind. He has to let it exist and not not let it bother him. Well, she does increase Gaara's strength significantly. With this, the Hidden Sand and Hidden Leaf are strengthened extremely by the time the Hidden Leaf comes back. With Sasuke, he's in the Hidden Sand, would eventually disappear, and Naruto assumes it's Sasuke willingly left, saying that the curse mark brought deep hatred into Sasuke. But from where they were and how Samson would regularly go through the Hidden Sand, he doesn't know where Sasuke could have gone. He can't sense him. He's not a sensory ninja. He feels killing intent, but didn't feel any because he was asleep. He needs to work on that, and he knows that. Macho sends out hundreds of thousands of clones to go investigate, and he's one of the people, and they all search around the Hidden Leaf and Hidden Sand. But eventually they can't find Sasuke, which leads to the no Sasuke retrieval arc. But Naruto and Jiraiya do eventually leave to go train. But Naruto actually does stop by Gaara, despite the Hidden Sand occasionally if they're nearby to just train with Gaara. From this over, Naruto was able to befriend the Nine Tails, but also beat him. So yeah, Naruto just simply went up to the 6th gate, but then fused it with the 2 tails and then beat the 9 tails. So yeah, but once he beat the 9 tails, he barely won, as they seemed seemingly more equal than he thought in this form, as he could have pushed it. But he also likes being in control, not going berserk. So yeah. It's like the Nine Tails and him they're not friends, but they're more on each other's side. The Nine Tails wouldn't say they're friends, but he's willing to help Naruto over at basically anyone but the Sage, even his own siblings. Well, say Shukaku, but yeah. Pause. Alright, where was I? The 2-time skip. Naruto occasionally stopped by to train Gaara, the Hidden Sand and Hidden Leaf Genin teams still train together 24/7. Naruto became a Jonin, and a lot of people became Jonins for the Konoha 12. Sasuke trained harder with Orochimaru to keep up with Naruto, because Orochimaru trained himself too. Just to beat Naruto. So yeah. The Jonins of Konoha 12. Naruto, Shikamaru, Neji, Rock Lee, Sakura, and Shino. Half of them are Jonin. Well, a little more than half if you dismiss Sasuke, but yeah. But everyone includes Sai, who's in the Anbu, which is kind of like a rank above Jonin. If you want to include Sai, then that's more, but yeah. But, yeah. So with this, we can just move on to Naruto coming back. Kazakawa retrieval mission doesn't really happen. This is when Gaara befriended Shukaku and trained with Shukaku in his mindscape just to learn new attacks, but also be in like learning Ross's abilities, because he thought it'd be a good idea. While training with Naruto, he thought it'd be a good idea to suppress or push him back with something heavy besides sand, because Naruto seems to be able to push that away easy. That actually lead to him discovering how to use not yet discovering how, but learning to use Rasa's gold dust release with magnet release. So he's actually able to use that to actually like push Datara down. Like Datara tries to like try to use his bird. He realizes his bird can't fly as high. Eventually, by the time he's like about to destruct his like everything, he realizes I guess his spider can't really get in the guard's defense and just blow up on the outside. Which is actually like they don't get in the inside, so it's like harder for them to move around. This would actually kind of injure Gara. But Datara realizing his sand is kind of being not sand. His puppet or fuck, his clay is being messed with on the inside at least. Actually, Guard's actually able to like use like gold to actually basically just destroy one of Datara's arms. He does retreat, so yeah. This arm's like basically beyond repair. Like the gold dust and sand combo just erased his bones from existence. So with this, we just move on to like the next arc after that, because Gara pushed back Sorcery and mainly pushed back Datara, which made like them all retreat. But they're close to the Hidden Leaf, so they decided to actually go there and spy on Naruto. Yeah, by the way, if you guys are curious about Kisame and Itachi, Naruto kind of really didn't really want to stop or just leave Jiraiya's side, so that really didn't really happen. So yeah, because I already mentioned the Akatsuki, so Naruto being by himself wasn't really sitting well with him. We have to go over adult Naruto, not adult, but yes, Naruto's appearance now. So the short just went from being orange shorts to now like this orange sweatpants, but he's held like a long sleeve shirt. But now it's more, well, yeah, it's more still like a black long sleeve shirt. But then for some reason, no one knows besides Jiraiya and Naruto, well, and Konohamaru and Udon Moegi, there's mostly a chicken on like the sleeve, like a chicken stitched on, like a big one, but like, it's like a chicken head, like a badge. But then on the back of it, Naruto has the Uzumaki symbol. So yeah, Jiraiya did hear about Samdak from Naruto. So as Naruto would basically just as Naruto, but as Sasuke and Data decided to spy Naruto, who's training Udon, Konohamaru, and Moegi, is basically teaching them like just nature releases, because he learned wind and water from Jiraiya. But can Jiraiya use water release? I'm pretty sure he can. I'm pretty sure the only nature he can't use is lightning. Let me check. So Naruto had learned water and wind release from Jiraiya, which actually did lead him to learning Rasengan, but with how much Naruto trains just 24/7. Like, he also does enjoy ramen briefly, he also learned how to make it himself. So when he's in Konoha, not training anyone or training himself, he's working at Ichiraku. This is like his part-time job. Also, Naruto started got interested in dating because of Jiraiya. Because before, he doesn't really leave Jiraiya's side if they're in like a town. He doesn't really trust it. So Naruto has like a bit of interest in dating, which does lead to him dating Hinata. Because he's aware of her liking him. It's pretty obvious for everyone and him. But since this one, Naruto didn't have the whole he didn't recognize Shino thing. He recognized him immediately and just hung out with him and ate ramen. Well, first he'd go like put on like his work clothes and make ramen, then pay for it. But yeah, so Naruto's training Konohamaru, Udon, and Moegi, and Naruto basically taught Konohamaru wind release. Moegi's focused on water release, and then with Udon, he's teaching him fire release. Also, actually, Udon's jutsu, it'd be water release. So yeah, because Udon has like a snot jutsu, and Naruto's teaching him how to utilize that. So yeah, now with this, Naruto would basically just proceed to sense he's being watched. Now Sasuke and Naruto don't know that they're being sensed. So Naruto would eventually just hold out Rasengan that he's able to do it with one hand. But then he ends up jumping in the air with the clone, and then yells wind style. Then yells wind style. Naruto, not Naruto Barrage, but wind style. Yes, was it? Yeah, Naruto Stream. Wind style, Naruto Stream. Then Naruto's them flying right towards Sasuke and Datara. And before they even know what's happening, what's happening. What's happening. Well, the clone had made more clones that just fire off rapidly around like different directions. And they all have just been charging up Rasengans to the point where they're just giant Rasengans. Plus, Naruto experiencing how to make a tailed beast bomb with help of Gaara in the training exams. He actually learned Rasengan a bit easier, so yeah, that's really just it. But Sasuke and Data being surrounded by clones using Rasengan, some of them even using tailed beast bomb. Gaara just like watches this giant explosion in the distance and just concerns the whole village. Eventually, Jiraiya and Tsunade arrive, only to see Naruto holding up two Akatsuki members. a very distorted sorcery who's protected by his like number of puppets, and then a dead Datara. So yeah. The sorcerer is interrogated, giving the information of Tenichi Bridge, but not just saying that he'll go himself or he'll bring a team. Also, when it comes like the Insane and Hidden Leaf training together, or for like a few months, not months, but for a few weeks, Sasuke and Sakura grew close together, so Naruto actually decided to bring someone Sasuke's close with, which involved him developing a relationship with Sakura. This one she actually developed to not like she liked Naruto a bit, but not as much as in canon, like a friend. But yeah. So with this, we just move on to like Naruto, who would let's bring Sakura. Eventually, Danzo would approach Naruto and actually ask Naruto to bring a Anbu member. Naruto agrees on the condition that they're not some adult like Kakashi or something. He wants someone near his age because they're a bit easier to understand. With that, Danzo gives them Sai. So yeah, now that they begin heading out, besides start to listen to Naruto. So I just question why from Danzo, but Danzo then says that Naruto is possibly someone above Hiruzen in strength. So yeah. Pause. So Naruto would basically just Danzo does explain that Naruto's a threat probably on his level, so Sai agrees with that. But Naruto would bring them over to the Tenichi Bridge. Naruto would eventually have Sai bring two masks, just one for Sakura. And Naruto already knows Orochimaru knows his face. And by the time that Naruto's when it comes to the bridge, Naruto just straight up approached Kabuto, because Kabuto probably knows his chakra signature, and because Naruto recognized Kabuto, he's kind of overestimating him. But Kabuto saw the appearance and the stature of Naruto, and it was already knew who it was. So as he looked at Naruto, he immediately just got nervous and decided to run away. And for two clones to appear in front of him. So I started Sakura questioning, when did Naruto make clones? For him to reveal that he made clones before they even left. They were just spectating, really. There were two left over from the whole Naruto stream barrage of Sasuke and Datara. But he just kept them active. So yeah. Now with this, he actually began to nonetheless defeat Kabuto until Orochimaru revealed himself, but he already knew he was there. Orochimaru sneak attack one of the clones. One of the clones just straight up just turned around and one tapped Orochimaru, with just shooting the second gate and just one tapped him. With that clone being Orochimaru being one tapped by that clone who was on the first gate. Naruto basically jumped at Orochimaru and fighting him full force, only not even powering up to the gates or Chibi chakras, being fighting him. And Naruto's strength at this point with just raw power, he was pretty close in power to Tsunade's regular just full power strength. Without 100 healings, I mean. Around that. But Naruto would eventually just begin to impress Orochimaru even more as he can't even block hits without having his bones broken or cracking. But Orochimaru would eventually block a palm strike, only for Naruto to yell, "Kill palm." And Orochimaru sent flying away. But suddenly he's hit in the back by two Rasengans, and he's sent flying in the air, with him not even being able to move. The Rasengan shattered his spine completely. But then, he looks up, seeing the giant Rasengan, that then morphed into a tailed beast bomb, and everyone then sees a whole new, basically a canyon created by this tailed beast bomb. Naruto would land, and then see a pile of snakes. Then scoffs, calling Orochimaru a coward, only for Naruto to actually sense where he's going immediately. Because Naruto has full control over Nine Tails chakra. Only thing is, Naruto hasn't trained with KCM because he wants to master the gates, and that's really just it. He wants to master the gates. Naruto can transform into a tailed beast. He can't do that because as soon as Naruto being able to probably control the cloaks, I assume he probably control the 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, so on. He can do all that. I'm pretty sure he can control most of that. But Naruto basically just chase down Orochimaru as they hold Kabuto captive. Well, one of the clones does, because one of the clones isn't dead. When the Tailed Beast on the canyon thing, he was able to avoid it with a body flicker. But yeah. So Naruto basically just ran and proceeded to, chase Orochimaru down, the clone holding Kabuto captive. But Sakura would eventually have a bird fly under Naruto and just catch him as Sakura was with Naruto. But this one, Sakura trained with Kurenai and Tsunade constantly. So, yeah. Plus, with Sakura being more influencing over Hinata towards Naruto, she's able to help Hinata with everything towards Naruto. Hinata is a little more upfront and a little more confident in this one. but also knows a bit of Genjutsu too. So he also gets a bit of a buff just through being connected with Sakura more often. But yeah, well, Sakura as they get like right over Orochimaru's base, Naruto tells her that he knows they're coming, so there's no use for sneaking. But he then actually jumps in the air with her, then tells her just to make sure that is she confident in like her durability from the sight at least. He says, yeah, if she's not going to fall. If she goes for a punch, then she's more confident in it. But she doesn't know that her hand will be severely hurt after this. Because there's no worry till he'll heal it. But she's then Naruto streamed into the air. Then she's basically just Naruto streamed back down towards the base. She has basically chakra flowing off of her fist about to punch the base. She does just that, completely shattering it, like evaporating it. Not evaporating it, but just destroying the base mostly completely. By the time she landed, her hand was like basically bleeding from every part of it, till Naruto just healed it with a Nine Tails chakra, where he just like did kind of just control it to his own way to the point where it's just basically healing chakra, like you can just heal it. It's not like putting a cloak around someone. It's actually pretty sure putting a cloak around someone can actually have them healed. So if you can do that, and then it heals her, but also amps her. Naruto actually doesn't trust side with him being the Anbu under Danzo specifically. What Hiruzen is just like the only elder Naruto trusts, besides Jiraiya, Tsunade. But Sakura being amped begins fighting against Orochimaru. Orochimaru's already kind of weakened, so we can't really even fight Sakura, who's using this amount of strength, who's just being reflowed with chakra constantly. Eventually she's able to actually defeat Orochimaru with how much power that she's outputting, then it's just put back into her. This is like 100 healings, but more like the 80 healings, something like that. So with this, Orochimaru's able to be defeated by Sakura. Well, then Sai begins fighting at Sasuke, with Naruto actually being able to actually flow chakra into him, but not giving him a cloak. But Sai is eventually defeated, while Naruto just looked at Sasuke. Sasuke jumped at Naruto at full speed with charging Chidori. Naruto immediately grabs Sasuke's arm and just throws him into a wall. And it's shocked Orochimaru, Sasuke, Sakura, even Sai. Naruto just caught an attack at lightning speed and just threw it away. And that shows that Naruto can calmly react to lightning and just simply slap it. That's what this we can do. He can just slap lightning away. He didn't even need to catch Sasuke's arm. He can just catch Sasuke's hand, that's active with Chidori, and just squeeze his hand until it breaks. He's only able to hold on to Chidori with like it's nothing. So Sasuke would dash at Naruto again, and has been fighting with Taijutsu only for Naruto to dodge every single attack and call it sloppy. But eventually he throws a jab, hitting Sasuke right in the face, and then follow with like a cross, a hook, uppercut, then just a 1-2 combo coming to the chest. But when Sasuke just hits that, Naruto would eventually just do a rapid barrage to the chest over and over again, and then finish off with a 1-inch punch, but then Sasuke's flying into the air. Naruto's falling down with a axe kick, hitting Sasuke right in the face. Sasuke hits the ground, Naruto will land right over him, or kind of like right on him, but he does a squat, like it's a squat position, so he doesn't just like lands over him. When Sasuke tries to back up, he's just punched right in the face by Naruto, full force, and he just gets knocked out by that. With that, Naruto's actually able to, we'll find something in Orochimaru's base to restrain Sasuke, while Orochimaru's put in custody alongside Kabuto, who's still being held by a clone. But I guess you guys are curious about like Kimimaro. He died during time skip with just illness. Like, I didn't even need to mention that at all. Like, you're sure could take in his body, but you would need a new one immediately, so there's no point in that. But yeah, so Orochimaru's put in custody, then brought to Hidden Leaf. But by Naruto only. Both Sasuke and Sai Naruto brings Sasuke and Orochimaru in custody with Sakura's help. But then for Kabuto, he's just brought by Sakura. So, yeah. By the time they arrive at Hidden Leaf, those three are put in a Konoha prison. But, well, they're being detained by seals from Jiraiya. So, pause real quick. Next arc would be a custody suppression mission. But the thing is, honestly, Asuma isn't on this mission. He isn't. Sai saying how strong Naruto is and actually being just feeling his leadership and how Naruto has confidence in his team and make sure that they're okay. Sai feels a bit more comfort in Naruto being with Naruto than being on the side of anyone else. Even Danzo, which confused him to say, would lead him approaching Jiraiya, asking him to remove the seal on his tongue. Resting the tongue, seeing inside his tongue would say it would take a long time. He would need Naruto's help. So Sai meets in private with Naruto and Jiraiya. And Naruto begins flowing chakra into Jiraiya while Jiraiya begins removing the seal of Sai. When it's broken, Sai eventually tells Danzo he's leaving. Then Danzo says actually the seal and for Sai to say he had it removed. Only then will Danzo attack Sai, but suddenly Sai is eventually, not Sai, but Danzo, suddenly have his arm just removed. We're gonna realize that what's gonna happen, his arm is removed, well suddenly, something is snagged from him. Feeling what was snagged, realizing it's the Sharingan. Yes, how this was removed, but Naruto then says he can sense really well. That was an eye under there, for sure. And it happened to be Danzo's arm that was covering up. So, Naruto already knew there's nothing wrong with it via Sai. So, yeah. So with this, Naruto already had Danzo's arm and his Sharingan in his hand, and Hiruzen was there watching. Before Danzo could attack Naruto using his one arm and one eye, and two legs, I guess, he's only just smacked by Enma right into the ground, and is crushed. He's not killed, but he's just wounded pretty badly. And Danzo's then put in Konoha prison, and, well, the Sharingan's kind of put in a jar. Then the arm is basically put on, like, just for, like, examination via Tsunade and Shizune and Sakura. But also wants to know what's going on with the arm. He all the Sharingan, and then he puts them all in jars. But then he feels a presence nearby. And there's not killing intent behind it, but it's malicious. Initially, Naruto ends up sending out a clone, and the clone's actually able to identify a Venus flytrap-like creature. Dry then says, it's a member of the Akatsuki named Zetsu. So, with them identifying Zetsu, well, Naruto would mean have a clone basically just launch out a big, an attack once he makes a new clone to attack. When the clone goes on for the attack, well, on the attack, it's pretty, one-sided. So with this one clone fighting against Zetsu, being able to sense where it's going, Zetsu doesn't know how to escape this speed demon. But eventually Obito would appear and then kill the clone, and just be amazed that the clone was that strong. So, I guess with this we just move on to, like, probably Naruto being able to, he knows about the Masked Man now. But back to the Akatsuki Special Mission. Sai is there with Shikamaru, who's the team leader, alongside Izumo and Kotetsu, but with him being able to assemble his own team, well, he actually asked someone else to join his team who's still a Chunin. Choji. I actually forgot, in the beginning, but towards, like, the middle, actually, what time is that right now? In just about, between the 0 minute and the, 20 minute mark, pretty sure said that Shikamaru and Choji train with Naruto occasionally because he preferred them to train with him, and if they evolved with age, their body, with the training that Naruto put them through, they'd constantly be at their peak power or physical strength for their age. And Choji being Akimichi, that's honestly instantly heightened, and Shikamaru being Shikamaru, well, his body's just a lot better suited than most Nara, or all Nara for a matter of fact. So, it actually came out to Shikamaru versus Hidan, and Shikamaru at this point is actually stronger than Asuma was in canon. But then, he has Sai with him, with Sai being helping him. So they had that one miscellaneous Nara with them, who was helping Sai, being helping Izumo Kotetsu, and Choji, who fights An's Kakuzu. So, yeah. Now with this, actually does lead to Sai and Shikamaru teamed up, defeating Hidan by actually immobilizing him. So, yeah. He's actually able to, basically make blood come out from Hidan, then substitute that own blood for his own. So, basically Hidan stabbed himself right in the heart, but then just double the pain, which actually made him just almost pass out just so much it hurt him. Because he never felt that much pain in his life. Well, for him to be then pierced over and over by shadows, and then just bound with it. So, yeah. But then, because Hidan ingested his own blood, I assume that probably hurt him even more than usual. So, yeah. So this, Hidan is just incapacitated just through sheer pain. Kakuzu eventually is held basically like Choji. Shikamaru then just pierces Kakuzu, over and over with his shadow. Eventually he has, Choji just throw Kakuzu, then when he would put his hand on the ground, he just grabbed the shadows, and then shadows are eventually able to tear his arms off, and then shadows would stab him over and over again. With help of the miscellaneous Nara, of course, but then Sai would take out his last heart after Choji basically punched him into the air again. Shadows would appear above him with a bird and stab him right in the heart. So Hidan is detained, Kakuzu is killed. But they pass out after that, so, yeah. So with this, eventually, Ino does arrive as Hidan wants to escape. She used Mind Transfer Jutsu on him. And she doesn't pain via this, but Shikamaru just woke up, and then the Jutsu was canceled out when someone woke up Ino. Only for Shikamaru to basically just punch Hidan in the face full force and knock him out. So, yeah. That Raku's body is taken for examination, but then turned in for a bounty when they realize where they are. But then so's Hedon. But they can't really keep him, so they just give him the money. With this, then this to be to Dry the Gallant Tail, or Tail Dry the Gallant. But Dry is a lot stronger than Canon, too, because he trained with Naruto, who taught him at least 3 gates. Thinking of... Pause. Alright, so, as we see Naruto... No, I see Dry go into the hidden, So, Dry being stronger, having 3 gates, would invade the Hidden Rain. Infiltrate it. And when he does fight into the Path to Pain, well, he does actually feel like he's gonna get like I guess too far behind them in power. He just shoots it up to like gate 1 or 2 and then just beats them down. Then by the time they actually is gonna be stabbed once or twice, well, Fusaka already knows what to do. As actually able to actually cause traction by with level Ma Toad, and they're actually able to create it's a small shockwave to push them back, while Dry is able to crawl away. Dry built up the power to actually activate the 3rd gate, which he's never done before. Well, he's done it before, but he doesn't really use it. But he has enough power to actually wield it, not even knowing he can go up to gate 4. Well, with that, he's able to push back most past the pain, even when Mom get back on his shoulders, and he's able to actually go into Sage mode without only having 1 arm. Or imperfect Sage mode, which is mixing the gates in Sage mode. So, yeah. He's actually able to beat all paths of pain, but he retreats, and, well, he then tells this, the Yayiko body, saying he'll let him go, only that Dry is allowed to go. He can't really say it out loud, but Pato is able to hear it and just tells him. But Dry then actually tears off the arm of that path of pain and just throws him through the building and just through the whole Hidden Rain. As he just says yes, and Dry just tears it off an arm and throws him. With that, Pato are able to reverse summon him to Mount Miyaboku and take care of him. He's been gone for too long and they think he died. So Dry just walks into the office just without an arm and barely able to speak. This confuses Tsunade, so he just tells him what happened, and Jay-Sensei able to heal his vocal cords and just say it. But yeah. With that, well, Nagato is able to actually get a new path of pain. It's able to help help Yayiko path to regrow his arm. But then the other paths of pain are already too far gone. He doesn't invade Konoha over just what Dry did to the Yayiko path. But Naruto is just driving this whole time to get the gates, but on Mount Miyaboku, or to get more gates on Mount Miyaboku. But in condition, he brings Might Guy and Rock Lee. He brings telling Rock Lee that nature chakra is a bit different. See, let me check this real quick. So Rock Lee, he can walk on water and stuff, but I don't think he had enough time to blend it. I assume he could probably at least be able to resist it a bit, but he wouldn't be able to down there as long as Might Guy possibly. Might Guy and Rock Lee take a break occasionally, but they're there to teach Dry a few more gates. By the time that they're done on training with Mount Miyaboku for 2 weeks, Naruto returns a fully mastered Sage, and then Dry returns being able to at least, well, he didn't master Sage when he focused on the gates. He's able to return using at least Gate 5 now. So by the time that they arrive with Paint Assault Arc, well, Paint Assault Arc being halfway through, 1, Kakashi isn't dead. And 2, the reason he's not dead is because Sasuke saved him. As he's about to be hit by that whole nail, Kakashi, well, 1, is a bit freed as he's a bit stronger than Canon. Before he's about to try to come it away, well, it's hit by a Chidori Stream, by a Chidori Spear. It pierces right through the nail, and then actually will cut off the other arm of the Yayiko path. Only for Sasuke to jump and then use the Chidori again and slash it clean in half, speeding the Yayiko path. Still having other paths of pain alive. Actually, I don't think Sasuke could cut a path of pain in half, but I think catching it off guard could cut an arm off. He was able to do that, and the path of pain, using its new arm, is able to jump away. But then the Ashura path would try to step Sasuke from behind, only for Kakashi actually pull Sasuke down to where he is and barely dodge the whole saw thing. But Orochimaru was able to use his snake sword and cut the head off of it. Returning to the inside waging war against more past the pain, actually going into the whole Hydra snake thing with Sasuke and Kabuto helping him. But Danzo's also freed, and she begins helping in the attack with Hiruzen, and Danzo finally teaming up again, alongside the other elders. So with this, well, they're actually all able to actually defeat some passive pain as a group, 2. But yeah, Naruto and Dry return, seeing the village turning against them, every single Konoha team plus the elders, including Hiruzen and Hiruzen and Danzo. Then the Sani now reunited. Then Sai included in Konoha 12, making it Konoha 13. Plus Naruto's there, so Konoha 13 still. It's like the ultimate defense against pains. Because three of them are down. One via Konohamaru, Uramoegi teaming up. Because that trio is actually able to drop a few Jonin by themselves. Konohamaru himself with Taijutsu that Naruto taught him, plus learning Rasengan. Udon developing more ninjutsu as he learned at he learned the basics of how to use chakra at age 7 via Naruto. He knows how to use a few dozen water style ninjutsu. Mikey learned Earth to Earth release just through Ebisu. So yeah. They can each use at least 2 chakra natures, besides Konohamaru, who just uses wind but masters it. So yeah. With those three are able to drop a path of pain. Then the elders, including Donzo, are able to take down 2 paths to pain. So at a 6, half of them are down. So with this, this is already overkill. That's one of them's weakened, and one of them, the David Pat, the one that had the healing was taken down by Konohamaru, Udon Moegi. Basically, they hid the body. Like Udon used a snot trap. Konohamaru hit it with a Rasengan. Then Moegi used Earth Release to basically just crush it completely. So it's basically just undiscoverable now. They just find it as a puddle and they can't restore that. But Naruto would dash at the one that can absorb chakra, only for Jiraiya to intervene. So he'll handle this one. He knows how to defeat it immediately. He recognized the ability that's using when it was fighting. But Jiraiya would hit it with the Rasengan, only for it to be absorbed, but because he's Naruto, suddenly it just turns to stone. But Jiraiya kicks it so hard that smoke would come out of it, and actually, so immediately it basically just starts just a smoke screen. But suddenly, we would see Asuma, who didn't die, just jump out and immediately just launch an burning attack. But then Hiruzen launches it with him, only for Jiraiya to just spark it about with Naruto helping him, because Naruto knew Fire Style before any other nature. So these three combined, just launching out a Fire Style jutsu, are able to basically, incinerate most of the pain besides the Yahiko path. But Jiraiya would jump up and basically just grab it and just hold it down, and then tell Naruto if he knows where Nagato is. And Naruto says, if that's the user, then yeah, I know where he is. Plus, Shino took care of the paper girl, as he was Shino who's just restraining Konan. Pause. So Naruto ends up basically just dashing towards where Nagato is by just activating his fourth gate and just dashing ahead. Well, at least once throughout this video, I think I said Super Saiyan. Because I'm watching Dragon Ball Z video in the background, but I think I said Super Saiyan or Goku at least once. But yeah. But Naruto ends up using the third gate and be able to actually dash right towards Nagato in a split second. Not a split second, but just really fast. And it's enough time for Jiraiya to actually keep restraining him to the point where they use Earth Release to hold him down. But Naruto appeared in front of Nagato and was actually able to talk him down to the point where he disables the whole jutsu. With how strong the elders are with Hiruzen helping them, plus just naturally stronger teams, there's not been casualties to the point where Naruto says there's no need to restore every bit of life. It'd just be a waste of your life. Wait, pause. Alright, so that's off with Naruto telling Nagato that he doesn't need to revive the very few people that died in the Konoha Crush. Not Konoha Crush, in the Konoha Destruction. But does insist that Nagato better himself by going to the Hidden Leaf Prison, but also using his abilities to better Konoha. And Nagato agreed to that. But he also does ask that if he does do this, that they give Nagato a proper burial, alongside the other bodies he's using for his evil deeds. Naruto agrees as he carries Nagato back to Konoha, and he gave them Nagato's condition, but the conditions he gave Nagato. So that Nagato's actually able to somewhat be healed, but also use a path of pain on a corpse of a shinobi, and he's actually able to have that body use one of the Rinnegan abilities to actually heal everyone, using the King of Hell. No one steps out of it fully healed, besides Naruto. They'll get healed, then eventually they restore Konoha with the help of Yamato, who's still pretty prevalent, I guess. Mainly it's him and Kakashi doing missions, because Naruto's a Jonin, so he doesn't really need one. But Naruto's new team is Team Konohamaru, but due to him being out of the village 24/7, because just some events, Ebisu would take coverage half the time, so yeah. After Konoha Crush, Sasuke doesn't want to go after Itachi, But Itachi happened to actually go towards Konoha as his disease is about to reach the end of his life and he wants to see Sasuke before he dies. So Itachi is actually able to sneak into Hiruzen's house and tell Hiruzen to call a meeting involving the Konoha 12 and the Hokage. Danzo's, by the way, is arrested again, so, yeah. But as Itachi calls a meeting saying his sickness is probably going to kill him in a few days, well, he tells Sasuke the whole truth, but leaves out Hiruzen's part of it. Hiruzen didn't want, but Itachi forced him to listen. And with that, Sasuke doesn't want to kill Danzo so bad, but suddenly Itachi just gets knocked out by Naruto. And Sasuke questioned why Naruto did that, until Naruto just handed over Itachi to Tsunade and Sakura, telling them to do their magic. Tsunade then says she already planned on it. So with that, Tsunade actually is able to basically reverse summon her and tons of doctors to, well, and plus Sakura, to mount a mountain, but to basically the force of the slugs and just begin healing Itachi. Actually, Itachi returns roughly like later on, but he's healed. Plus, with his eye going blind, he's given Chisui's eye. Then before he's given the eye, he has the idea to basically just swap eyes with Sasuke, and they do just that. But then Sasuke is able to awaken a Mangekyo, but then a Eternal Mangekyo at the same time. But with Itachi's eye also was given Amaterasu, while Itachi already had it. So Itachi trained them how to use it, but then with their new abilities, each they're able to cancel it out. So yeah. So pause one more time. Now, eventually it does come down to the Hokage Summit, but in this one, basically just every level remember the Akatsuki attacking, which is just probably like just Kisame, Tobi, and Zetsu. It's really them. But while at the summit, well, the guards of Tsunade are Naruto and Itachi. Sasuke still has to serve prison time. Well, Itachi happened to be on a mission, so he wasn't given any, he wasn't given any, he was given, a fine, not any prison time. Okay, Naruto's basically just under protection 24/7 because he tells us that, we're supposed to get information about Obito from, information about Obito or Madara from Itachi, but also Nagato. So Naruto's under 24/7 protection. But what Tsunade doesn't know is that a Naruto clone is with her. Not a clone, but, I guess it could be a clone, but it's a 70% clone. Or remaining 30% of Naruto's power is guarding Nagato, which is really all he needs to guard anyone. But he does deem Tsunade really more important than most people, so he gave her 70% clone. But Nagato eventually is attacked, and the Hokage Summit is invaded by Kisame, who fights the 70% Naruto clone and just defeated in seconds. So, yeah. Then Zetsu tries to basically attack Naruto from behind, only for Naruto to use wind jutsu and be able get a wind substitution jutsu. But when he's just hit by it, the wind basically cuts Zetsu into pieces. White Zetsu that is. Black Zetsu has escaped. But yeah. But 30% of Naruto fights against Obito. It's enough to win, but still he pushes Obito to the point where he even lands a few hits on him. But the battle takes to the center of Konoha, where he breaks Obito's mask and then reveals who he is to Kakashi. But Kakashi, with his a bit bigger chakra reserves, was definitely able to use a Kamui on Naruto. And Obito doesn't know where Naruto went. He just saw Naruto basically just disappear when he tried to avoid an attack. But suddenly, as he's attacked by Kakashi and Guy, and Jiraiya and Hiruzen, he tries to basically avoid an attack. He basically punches her in the face again, not knowing how he's hit. But eventually, as he tries to face the attack, he's just hit over and over again. He just puts himself in Kami dimension, seeing Naruto, but realizing here there's no 30% Naruto, it's full power Naruto, and he just gets the hands disrespectfully from Naruto not even using gates. Naruto at full power not even using gates is a foe that most people fear. So yeah. But eventually Naruto even means using chakra and ninjutsu, and he pushes Obito to his just limit. Well, Naruto is still overpowered as all hell. But eventually Obito is able to get them both at the Kami dimension, getting back to Naruto at 30% power. Naruto is laughing, saying at 30% power he can handle Obito easily. He just wants to test himself. So yeah. So with this, he tries to attack Naruto again, only for Naruto to say he's going to use his power for the first time in a while. Well, he didn't use it, he only used it once in a 2-year time skip. But suddenly, he would then pull his hands out, suddenly he would take a deep breath out, and suddenly, he would use the technique, which is blending Shira's owl-style thing, then blending the 8 gates, but then put KCM in stage mode right over it. He's not strong because he's at 30% power, but then his clone shoots into that too, and doesn't know how, but everyone feels the power emitting off of him. And the clone then says, "Oh, well, I guess Naruto is being pushed by someone." But then Charlie asks what that means, and the clone says, "Oh, I'm a 70% clone." which shocks everyone there that he beat a member of the Akatsuki, who was supposedly a tailed beast, that easily. Then, Mei, the Mizukage, is confused, and asks Naruto, how strong are you at 100%? But Sarada speaks for that. He speaks for Naruto, saying, well, honestly, I think him alone could take us all on and win. But that's when Naruto speaks up, saying the person who's pressuring Naruto right now doesn't have a chance in hell to beat Naruto in this form, even if he's at 30%. He could probably beat any foe he wanted to. And that clone is not wrong. Naruto beat the mess out of Obito. But eventually Obito is actually defeated by this Naruto, no matter how fast or how far away he travels. Kakashi can just calmly Naruto into the dimension. Even if he escapes calmly, boom, just put Naruto in there. And he can't even get a Rinnegan from Nagato because, well, he's still, Nagato's under watch, and eventually he's taken away somewhere. Taken away somewhere, not taken. But eventually they're all able to actually, with Obito being beaten, this dude's kind of just confused and concerned about what to do. But Nagato will actually use up all his power to actually seal away Zetsu. What he does is actually channel up all the chakra all at once, but before he does it, he's given a KCM cloak, and Naruto passes out. That's the remaining power of Naruto and the Nine Tails before they both just pass out. And then with that, the clone would disperse because Naruto's down for the count. So yeah. But Naruto, using all his power that he's been given as his body is put back in its prime state, but also even stronger, he's just able to use a Chibaku Tensei on Black Zetsu. But then just basically be able to almighty push it once it's fully formed, but the almighty push he uses is using every ounce of power he ever had. With that, he pushes it so far away that it's not even being able to be seen, even if it's farther away than the moon. And you can slightly see it, but it's a small tiny dot. So it's the size of a star in our point of view. On Earth, it's our point of view without a telescope or anything. And that's killed Nagato. So yeah. Naruto eventually wakes up, and he wakes up an hour before Nagato's funeral, puts his funeral clothes on, and then just has the funeral. But still, Naruto's regarded as a hero alongside Nagato, as they erected. Basically, they were able to carve his face into the Hokage monument, but not on the Hokage, but under it, under one of the Kages. That's right under Tsunade's face. But eventually, with this threat ended, there's no more Akatsuki members. This will basically just end the whole. First, when the sixth Hokage is about to be elected, it's Naruto, but he elected a lot earlier as Hokage, at roughly around 22 years old. So the time that Boruto rolls around, Naruto's been Kage for almost a decade. So yeah, he's one of the younger Kage. So yeah, Gaara's the youngest though. Gaara was elected as a Kage at a young age because of how fast he turned the tide of the Konoha Crush for the Hidden Sand. Then with his decisions being the right choice. He made the right choice in almost causing a war, but then was able to turn it all around. Because he was just so feared, but also some people respected him too. Gaara became Kage age 14, 13, 14. So he's the youngest, but then Naruto's 22, so let me check this real quick. Yeah, Naruto's younger than Minato by 1 year when he became Hokage. So he's one of the younger Kage. He was older than he is then, but still. So with this, by the time Boruto rolls around, this one, by the time, I guess the biggest difference would be against Momoshiki. But when Momoshiki was actually, Momoshiki was around, during the decade of training that came around, Naruto's actually able to train with Sasuke, 24/7, when Sasuke is, kind of just ends his prison time. But he also trained with Itachi, and during this time of traveling and training with Naruto and Itachi, traveling, but then training with Itachi, then comes back to train with Naruto occasionally. This doesn't actually allow them to actually have Sasuke unlock a Rinnegan, but Naruto be gifted Sage Power, just through, at one point, they reached a stalemate, with Naruto holding back a bit, but they reached a stalemate with that, and they both passed out beating the Sage. With that, Sasuke gets gifted a Rinnegan, and Naruto gets gifted Sage Power. So, yeah. So with this, Naruto would basically just go about and, by the time that Momoshiki rolled around, Sasuke and Itachi fought Momoshiki in the different dimension the first time together. But the way they did it, Momoshiki couldn't really escape Amaterasu. Once he did, Kenji couldn't really escape Amaterasu. Once he shot him by Sasuke, Itachi can just control it himself too. He just mixed it in with his own and then controlled it. But then without being directed at him, he just can't dodge Amaterasu. Which is it gets caught in his clothes, but then doesn't know that it's also caught in his skin as he just gets burned alive. Leading to Sasuke and Itachi versus Momoshiki, but they lose in the retreat. But then now it's just Momoshiki versus Naruto. It's just like use that whole giant tailed beast bomb thing. Naruto just jumped up in the air, going into like his like nice at 100%. Everyone gets to see it for the you see it for the first time. Full power Naruto using KCM, not 1 but KCM 2, mixing in Sage mode, but then his combined Owl and 8 Gate Swarm. But he basically gave it Samdak contribute. He just named it Samdak, or the ancient Samdak technique. He taught it to Konohamaru and Ogi and Udon. So he taught it to them. He basically just uses Samdak, KCM2, and Sage mode, and jumps in the air with KCM2, and then just pimp slaps it into the atmosphere with no effort. Most Ishiki is concerned with this form is till he fights Naruto and loses horribly. Most other threat is just against Jigen. Not Ishiki, just Jigen. But Naruto enough is actually like an even match in Master Jigen in this form, and is actually able to, with Sasuke at his side, plus Itachi, who's one of the strongest shinobi around still. Well, which is Jigen in like that one dimension? It was Naruto, Sasuke, Itachi, and Jiraiya. Well, you guys don't ask about Jiraiya. Jiraiya still trains 24/7, but doesn't like we didn't use like anything to wish to be not wish, but make himself young. But it still has peak power 24/7. So yeah. And with these 4, I guess, they're actually able to push Jigen to his brink to the point where he has to leash because he's like cracking. But as he left, well, he eventually gets to come back to get Kawaki. But Naruto immediately appeared in front of him. I'm like in his base form is this Naruto's just about as fast as KCM 1 Naruto is in canon in Boruto. So that's just how fast he's in his base form without going to KCM, which is matching canonical KCM 1 Naruto in Boruto. It's still pretty impressive. So with this, Naruto would eventually fight against Jigen, and put up about the same amount of fight as KCM 1 Naruto in canon, but not even powering up yet. But Jigen's just amazing how strong Naruto is, so he just goes KCM 1, but not even mixing in Sage mode, then just mixes in his full power Samdak and everything transformation. And with this actually being pressuring Jigen even more, and first Jigen does acknowledge that Naruto's holding back on him the first time they fought and asks why. Naruto says with the forces he had, there's no need to go full power, plus he was just testing Jigen. So Naruto says the forces that Jigen fought, Naruto could beat them all on his own with no effort. At least when he's using 100%, he can beat them with no effort. But suddenly Naruto ends up basically disappearing from Jigen's sight, then appearing below him, kicking him into the air, and Jigen wasn't like stopping, he's like flying through the air. Suddenly he looks forward, seeing multiple red orbs flying at him, so he's just hit by each one and they're blowing up an impact. But eventually as he hits the ground, he's forced to actually, go into, Ishiki. He's forced into that. Well, he would look in front of him, seeing a Susanoo, just to be grabbed and thrown into the air. But another Susanoo actually stab at Jigen, and able to jump over it, only so he's just punched in the back. But then he looks, seeing 3 fists. Well, 1, Naruto. 2, Lee. 3, Guy. As I'm flying down on the ground, he suddenly just clashed by a giant Rasengan, seeing 2 hands holding it. It was Konohamaru and Jiraiya. But the way, Jiraiya's like an artificial hand now, so yeah. As is these Super Sengons, this one giant Rasengan formed by them, clashing into his back, he tries to basically just shrink it, but as he does, he's stabbed right in the back by the Totsuka blade and then sealed away. Yeah, basically just ended Jigen, he's sealed away. He's not dead. There's no need for him to die, which leads to Kawaki still having his combo mark. Naruto does actually tell Itachi, like, can you release him at any point you want? And Itachi says, yeah. But they didn't bring him to the most inconvenient location. Bring him to an empty dimension, but the whole Konoha 12 group is there, and then it's the strongest group of them. The whole Konoha 12, well, not Hiruzen, but Tsunade and the Konoha 12, the 3 Sannin, Itachi, and Sasuke, plus the Hokage, which is Naruto, Kawaki, Boruto, and Sarada, and Mitsuki. Because Mitsuki is stronger than canon because he's trained by Jiraiya. Yeah, Mitsuki is Jiraiya's student in this one, while Boruto's mainly the student of Itachi. Actually, no, Sarada's just the main student of Itachi. I can see Boruto still trained with Sasuke. But yeah. Well, these three kids there, they're also all really over 4 kids there. Kawaki's the main student of Naruto, mainly. But also Rock Lee and Guy, because Naruto uses the gates occasionally, but combined with something else. But those are all there. Well, Ishiki looks in front of him. He tries to basically teleport away. He gets punched right in the cheek by Naruto and sent flying away. towards them. But suddenly, two Suzunos just collide their fists into him. They start to hold it back. Even just being just collided with multiple more attacks. So basically, just Jigen being mobbed by or Ishii being mobbed by everyone, not giving a chance to teleport away with Naruto knowing what he's going to do. Even if he shrinks, Naruto, Itachi, and Sasuke can both track him with no effort, and then just will beat him. Even Master Table Jiraiya now can sense where he's going. He doesn't even see him, he just sense him and just able to smack him. It was this Jigen that should be like basically just beat to the brink of death. Then he tries to basically bring out like hurt himself in Kawaki. Well, Kawaki just gets like a chakra training seal put on him by Jiraiya, and that doesn't allow him to fully transform into Ishiki, which leads to Ishiki dying. So yeah. And then next up will be Code, who's not even a challenge for Naruto. He may be stronger than Jigen, but who cares? Naruto's stronger than Jigen himself. Doesn't matter at all. So Naruto's being stronger than Jigen doesn't really matter if Code's stronger than Jigen. Naruto's already stronger. So he just beats down Code single-handedly, as he didn't lose Kurama. Even if he switched to Baryon mode, Code would die in seconds. But there's no Baryon mode included right here, so Code is just defeated. Although Naruto still has half of Kurama, he doesn't get the whole 100% of Nine Tails because there's no fourth grade ninja war. It's just Naruto bodying Obito in the middle of Konoha with the help of Kakashi and everyone else. So yeah, so with this we can just move on to the end of this, I say. Yeah, I don't know where else this could happen, but it's probably just Code being defeated. Whoever else works with cars, they're given leaked info via Amato. And with that, they're able to actually just invade and defeat a member of Kara like that. Yeah, so that basically just ended Boruto with Kara being leaked by Amado, and they defeat them all. Basically, end this what if you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more. But Toneri got one tapped with no effort. Yeah, Toneri got one tapped. But you guys know this what if. Goodbye.